The 2016 Blancpain GT Series gets underway in Misano this weekend with an unprecedented 40 cars in the Sprint Cup. Let's take a closer look at the entry list. A quarter of the field are Audi R8s, 6 of them from the Belgian Audi Club Team WRT. In car number 1 it's Frederik Vervisch and Laurens Vanthoor. Vanthoor's younger brother Dries is also racing this season. He's in the number 4 WRT car, partnered with last season's Blancpain GT Series champion Robin Freins.
Of course I will try to defend my title, but Dries is still learning. He's still really young, but he's quick. Let's hope we are really competitive, which we think we are. But winning with a field with 40 cars is going to be a bit more difficult than last year. We have the new car compared to last year, so there's still a bit of development going on. Yeah, just let's hope we are driving in the top 5 every weekend, and then we see where we end up.
M Sport have entered the Sprint Cup for the first time. Their 2 Bentleys will be driven by Maxime Soulet and Andy Soucek in the number 8 car. Northern Irishman Stephen Kane has been a Bentley boy since their return to GT racing, and he'll be joined in the number 7 car by Vincent Abril. Last year's Sprint Cup champion will be switching over to M Sport after running with HTP last season, and as a Works Bentley driver, it's a massive opportunity for the Monegasque racer.
Well, basically because I was offered a factory drive at Bentley Motorsports, so as HTP split with Bentley in the winter, it was decided I will do the full program with the M Sport squad, so I'm really happy of my situation and it's an honor. Steven is a very established GT driver now, and he's got a lot of experience, so I'm looking forward to my partnership with him, and he's fast, he's a pro, so I'm learning a lot also outside the track from all what he's doing throughout the years, so I'm looking forward to that.
There's a lot of Lamborghini Huracans in the field as well. Grasser Racing are bringing 3. In the 16 car, it's Jeroen Bleekemolen and Stefan Racina, a very quick pairing. Racina returning from retirement to enter, but he knows it's going to be a tough year.
No, I mean the aim is obviously to be up there somewhere. I think it's the goal for everyone. On the other hand, having these 40 cars and so many pilots is going to be, I think, tough. So I think you have plenty of cars actually that have a possibility to actually win the race. But I think we are one of them, and hopefully if we have luck we can be a good competitor.
Rinaldi's new Ferrari 488 isn't ready yet, so they're going to be sticking with the 458 that saw them win both races here last season. It was only accidents in early races that meant that Norbert Sieder and Marco Seefried were out of the title hunt.
We just try to stay out of trouble, and I mean speed-wise we always have been there. I think we built some more speed up during the season. At the beginning of the season, the crew was not as strong in the wheel change or in the pit stop that we have been at the end of the season. They improved a lot. I think we start this season from a higher level, so that makes us actually confident that we are good there. Now we have more than double as much participants than last year, and if you go through the list, the entry list, and you see the lineups, it's going to be really tough. I think one of the key factors will be the qualifying, to have a clear lap, because if you maybe 2 or 3 tenths quicker than somebody in front of you, to make the move on track will be really, really hard. That's why you have to really focus on the qualifying, in my point of view.
Another new GT3 car for 2016 is the BMW M6, replacing the old Z4. Rowe Racing have brought 2, one for the Dutch pairing of Nick Katzberg and Stef Dusseldorp. They'll be in the 98 car, while the 99 will be driven by defending Porsche Super Cup champion Philipp Eng, partnering with BMW factory driver Alexander Sims. Despite having one of the best pairings on the grid, it's still not going to be an easy season.
Well, yeah, it's a very competitive grid, and a lot of people that should be able to fight for race wins every weekend. A little bit difficult to judge exactly, but hopefully we'll be up the strong end over the course of the season. It's the first racing year with the M6 BMW. So yeah, first couple of weekends is going to be about finding our feet, trying to make sure we do everything right in terms of the procedures and get the car running correctly, and see where we are really. It's a bit of a fact-finding mission the first couple of races.
The Mercedes-AMG GT3 is another new car for this season. HTP have brought 3, switching back from Bentleys, and the headline act is going to be Maximilian Buch and Dominic Baumann. Buch, the Sprint Series champion from last season, he and Baumann won the GT3 European Championship in 2012 with the same team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the season because I'm driving with the new Mercedes AMG GT3. I'm driving together with Dominik Baumann after we won the European Championship in 2012. So I'm really exciting and looking forward to the first race. When you see the grid, when you see all the professional drivers, all the lineups, there's no particular car I'm having as a favorite. For me, there are at least 15 cars which can win a race or the championship, and you have to do no mistakes, and then you will see where you end up.
The RJN Nissan team are back doing the full Blancpain GT Series season this year after just doing endurance in 2015. In the 22 car, Sean Walkinshaw is returning, and he's alongside Ricardo Sanchez, the International GT Academy winner. While in car number 23, it's Alex Buncombe, another defending champion. He's partnered with Mitsunori Takaboshi, and Buncombe is excited to try and defend his Blancpain Endurance Series title from last season. But the Nissan doesn't tend to work well on the smaller circuits, so he'll have his work cut out.
I'm super excited, you know, it's obviously great to be back in the full Blancpain series, and obviously here at Misano it's a new challenge for all of us, you know, as well as the team and the drivers. You know, it's a super challenge for us all, and as ever it's mega competitive, so we've certainly got our work cut out this year.
A new McLaren team for this season are Garage 59. In the 59 car, Craig Dolby partnering Martin Plowman, whilst in the 58 lead car, Rob Bell and Alvaro Parent, two factory McLaren drivers, are going to be duking it out at the front.
Sprint Series is super competitive this year. It's looking amazing. If you look how many cars there are, that's something crazy, and something that we're not used to in the Sprint Series. But yeah, it should be interesting, you know, with the short qualifying sessions, short practice sessions and everything. But yeah, back here with McLaren, you know, 650, it's been a good 4 years that I've been with McLaren, and I'm happy to be here, and you know, especially with Rob as my teammate for this year. It's going to be very you know, interesting, challenging, and I'm really looking forward to it, to see what we can do.
A night race in Misano is the way this 2016 Blancpain GT Series will begin. It's the Sprint Cup element. We have 5 sprint events, 5 endurance events, all in the battle for the overall Blancpain GT Series crown. And these sprint events consist of 2 one-hour races, one to sort the grid for tomorrow, and one, the main race tomorrow, where the full championship points are on offer. My name's Jack Nichols. Alongside me in the commentary box, a little bit past his bedtime, is John Watson, and we're going to be having a very entertaining race here. The track temperature is down to 12 degrees, air temperature down to 12 degrees as well. It's chilly. We've had thunderstorms throughout the day, so the track is very greasy and damp. Reports from the grid is that people aren't quite sure still whether to go onto slick tyres or to wet tyres. Here's a look at the circuit, 4.2 kilometres long, and John, it's a challenge.
It's a great little circuit, 16 corners, just coming down the main straight, then that dog leg, and then into turns 12 and 13. And of course, it's a circuit that you can use a lot of what I would call the areas that you should just not get onto. In other words, track abuse, it is tolerated, but turn 6 is the corner. We know that will be the problematic corner. If you overrun that corner, you could face a penalty, and of course that would then destroy any of the hard work that's gone in.
So let's have a look at the grid ahead of the opening race of the season. It's the qualifying race that will set the grid for tomorrow's main race. Van Thor and Parent on the first row of the grid. Row 2, we are going to see Norbert Siedler and Robin Freins. Robin Freins, the defending Blancpain GT Series champion. Piccini will start 5th with Winkelhock in 6th place in the Audi. 7th on the grid, Maximilian Buch, defending Sprint champion. Felix Rosenquist, defending FIA F3 champion, is 8th on the grid. Then we've got Andy Soucek in the first of the Bentleys. Christopher Mies alongside him in the 33 WRT Audi. Franck Pereira was demoted after cutting the track on his qualifying lap. It looked as though he was going to take pole position. Christopher Hasse will start 13th for the Sainz-Lock Audi team in the car he shares with Mike Parisi. Rene Rast down in 16th. Watch for him carving through the order in these early stages. Bernd Schneider competing in his first full championship season since retiring from the DTM in 2008. He starts 17th on the grid. Jasmine Jafar there in 20th, won't take the start. That car broke down in qualifying and can't be fixed in time. 23rd on the grid, we have Patrick Niederhauser, the former GP3 racer. Alongside him is Edward Sandstrom in the other Sandblock Audi. Maxime Martin down in 25th place on the grid in the Boots and Ginny on BMW, just in front of Nick Katzberg. Jeroen Mull is 27th. Stephen Kane is down in 28th place. Then it's Takaboshi and Buncombe in the Nissan. Alexander Sims 30th in one of the strongest driver pairings on the grid. Craig Dolby didn't get off the line. He won't start 31st. Lucas Stoltz will be all alone on that row then. Jeroen Blekemolen will be 33rd. Sean Walkinshaw 34th. Then we have Sebastian Ash, former ADAC GT champion, 35th on the grid ahead of Jack Faller. Then Cedric Lima and Steve Parrow completing our starters. Cedric Lima will actually start from the pit lane, and Dolby is back in the pit lane as they try and fix that McLaren.
Yes, going back into the garage, the car's getting the jacks under it, it'll be pushed back in, but let's see what happens here at the start.
The start of the 2016 Blancpain GT season, perhaps the most competitive in the history of the championship, begins now as the lights go green on the run down towards turn 1. Pole position is Vanthor. He's on the inside line. Alvaro Paredes on the outside, and he can't get through, so it's Vanthor who holds the lead. Are we all going to get through turns 1 and 2 safely as this huge grid makes its way through for the 1 hour race? We go on board then, further back in the pack, and around the outside there goes one of the WRT Audis as they get on the brakes now, down towards turn 4. It's still Vanthor who leads, still Parent in second place. It was the onboard with the Ferrari, and they've now lost a spot, I think, to the Christopher Mies Audi. Fantastic start from Mies, if that is the case, as they wind their way now through turns 5, out through turn 6. This is on board with Alex Buncombe as he comes through the left-hander of 6, trying to make up some places. Cars running wide there on the right-hand side. You can hear the cars scrabbling for grip on this damp circuit, but perfect start then for Laurens Vanthor. He holds the lead of the race. Alvaro Parent in second position, John.
Yes, it was absolutely vital for Laurens Vanthor to assert that pole position. He did so. He was on the wetter part of the racetrack, but he got good traction. Now, if he's on slicks, he must be doing something very special. I suspect that he's on a set of wet weather tyres. We will have to wait and see.
Certainly will. And here is Vanthor then making his way down. He is in that WRT Audi. Second is Alvaro Parent in the 58 McLaren from the Garage 59 team with the 650S that was replacing the Von Ryan racing team. Battles further back behind the Rinaldi Ferrari as they all stream through down towards turn 13. So difficult to pick out the cars in these headlight conditions. And there's the number 5 car getting involved. That is Marcus Pommer. But here comes our race leader, Laurens Vanthor, to complete the end of the first lap. Had a nasty accident here last season, and that put him out of the championship finale. The crash here cost him the chance to win the Blancpain GT Series title. And he's going to make amends this weekend, I think, as one of the Ferraris runs pretty wide. There are the WRT team watching on in the garage as it all gets very busy down into turn 1. Meanwhile, this is the pressure from Robin French. This is the battle for second position. There's the look up the inside, and Alvaro Parent isn't quick enough to cover, but French has gone in too deep, and the McLaren gets the cut back and retakes second place, and now French is going to be under pressure from the Ferrari behind. 55 minutes to go. We get a pit stop window with 25 minutes gone, so between 25 and 35 minutes, you come in, change all 4 tyres and driver, and then you're back on your way again as this battle continues. And look up the inside, what a great move that was from Robin Frames into the penultimate corner, but they're going to go 3 wide now down towards the final corner. Frames is through to second place. Was there contact there between the McLaren and the Ferrari? Absolutely wheel-to-wheel stuff. Laurens Vanthor's disappearing off into the distance, but about 5.5 seconds further back, the fight is on for second. Parent is dropping all the way down the order now. He's behind the 333 Ferrari, so it's Frames second, Seidler third, 4th Alvaro Parent, and 5th
Maxi Book, that's the car I'm going to say. Watch the Mercedes.
Look at this move from Robin Frames. Penultimate corner of the track, not an overtaking opportunity really. He just goes for it.
Well, he just got better traction off the corner. That's a little bit of what I was saying with the lack, and then you got the Ferrari all over the back of the McLaren. Almost was the contact. It looked very, very close indeed. But of course, Alvaro Parent lost track position, ran very wide on the exit, gave the Ferrari the opportunity to get up alongside.
Meanwhile, this fantastic scrap, there's going to be contact in there, surely. They all got very, very close to one another. This is the 74 car of Franck Pereira leading this queue. Behind him is the 26 of Christopher Hasser. Behind him is Philippe Albuquerque in that number 3 WRT Audi. This is all over, ultimately, 7th position as they fan out and try and look for some space. On the outside is the 88 car. That's the Mercedes of Felix Rosenquist being pushed out wide unceremoniously as they continue to be side by side out through turn 6 now.
Albuquerque tried to get up alongside but was on the wrong part of the racetrack for turn 6. That goes to the left, so he's had to back out of it. He's having another sniff coming down the back straight. He's trying to follow through. Yeah, he's got up on the inside. So the 74 Audi being squeezed a little bit now, running slightly further wide. Albuquerque has got that position. Good pass on the exit of turn 8.
Well, what a great battle this is between these 5 cars, and there's the late look up the inside. Is that going to work out for the Audi? Yes, it is. Good work. So that means Franck Pereira drops down behind Felipe Albuquerque, who all of a sudden is motoring his way through up the order and is up into 7th position now. That's great. Craig Dolby out into the race. It's still the Ferrari that is on the attack again, trying to go around the outside of Robin Freins. Needs to be careful here because Maximilian Buch is there to take advantage, and Buch does take advantage. Up into 3rd place in the HDP Mercedes, and Seidler, from going on the attack, has now lost a position. So it's Vanthor leading, Freins 2nd, Buch 3rd, Seidler 4th. And this Norbert Seidler trying to go around the outside at turn 2. That'll give him the inside line for 3, but Buch's going to close the door, and the 3 of them stay in the same order, all battling over 2nd place.
Yeah, I mean, the Ferrari was aggressive, but so was the shutting of the door by Maximilian Buch, who's right again on the gearbox of the Audi.
So it's Freins 2nd for WRT, 3rd is Buch for HDP, 4th is the Rinaldi Ferrari of Norbert Seidler, who's just keeping a watching eye on all of this as they swing through the left-hander. Can Buch get to the inside, coming to the final corner? Yes! Maximilian Buch up the inside into turn 16, and he's through. Up into 2nd place then. So Buch up into 2nd. 3rd now for Freins, and now the Ferrari's going to attack. Watch out for Norbert Seidler. We're going to go 3 wide almost down in towards turn 1. Can Seidler do it round the outside? Yes, he can. Gets it stopped. What a fantastic move from Norbert Seidler. So it's Buch into 2nd, Seidler into 3rd. Robin Freins drops down to 4th.
Well, yeah, Robin Freins got under. Oh, and he's coming up the inside of the Ferrari. Can he get it? He got it alongside into turn 4. So the Ferrari took the position away, looked very comfortable, and then all of a sudden the Audi is down the inside. That was an open door, and Robin Freins didn't need to be asked to go through it.
Absolutely not. So we've only got 4 minutes until the pit stop window opens. There's Renault Dufour again. So these 2 are battling in 3rd and 4th place, and then behind we've got Felix Rosenqvist coming to join the fight as well. Keep an eye out for the Acker Mercedes. Through he goes there, and he is really starting to close in on that pair. He took half a 10th out in the middle sector, a 2nd out in the 1st sector, and the Ferrari knows it and has to attack. But again, Seidler is not quite close enough to get the job done on Robin Freins. Side by side, still for 3rd place, but he's done it. Through comes the race leader, Laurence Vanthor. 2nd place, Maximilian Buch. He has to stay out for another lap. Then in 3rd position, we've got the Ferrari of Norbert Seidler. 4th is Robin Freins. 5th, and diving into the pits then, is Felix Rosenqvist, and he is going to have timed this absolutely perfectly. He's just going to get there before the line. The clock ticked to 0 as he was passing underneath our commentary booth, which is before the pit stop inline. So a new set of slicks here for Rosenqvist, and he could really, really get a good undercut on his first lap out on slick tyres. More drivers coming into the pits now.
So that was an extremely closely timed pit lane entrance for the young Swedish driver to get into the pits, do the driver change, put on a fresh set of rubber. Slick tyres, Jacko, did you not pick that one up?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll see what they take off them as well. That's going to be interesting.
As we see the Laurent Vanthor in, is that by coming in so early, it means when the car goes back out, assuming it's gone onto slicks, it's going to gain an initial advantage over those that have stayed out a little bit longer on the wet weather tyres. And we're now to see Laurent Vanthor, the WRT team, have probably clocked that's the strategy of the Mercedes team, and it should be sufficient there. We see that's going to be the Brett Schneider
handing over to Baumann. Handing over to Baumann. Into the pits comes WRT. What are the tyres they've taken off the car?
So difficult to tell.
Yeah, can't quite make it out. But there is Buch out of the car. All the wheels attached. It's wets that are coming off.
Yeah, okay, the slick's going on now. So the advantage initially, in my view, has gone to the Rosenqvist Vautier Mercedes. They came in at the earliest opportunity. They're going to get 1 lap on a set of slicks while others were on their wet weather tyres, filtering through their 10-minute pit stop window.
So this is the Nissan 23. Let's just have a look at this quickly.
Yeah,
you're right, it was Andy said.
What's that
goodness.
about? What's all that about? That's Stephen Kane. Or was that Andy Soucek?
It'll be Kane because Soucek's still out and hasn't pitted. So
that was the 23 Nissan of Alex Buncombe suddenly getting elbowed out of the way by the Bentley.
So Andy Soucek still out there, 9.3 seconds ahead of Alexander Sims. And then behind, well, we'll wait as they come across the line here. We've got side-by-side action between the 19 Lamborghini and the number 8 Bentley.
And that is the number 8 Bentley trying to get through some of the back traffic. And Andy Soucek, who has been the quickest car on racetrack,
well, technically,
the last number of laps.
This is lapping, technically.
Yeah, it is, but he's sort of finding himself being wrong-footed by the Lamborghini he's trying to get past. And
they've hit each other.
If he goes off the line, he's going to be on the damper part of the track. No, he's not. He's going to make the cutback. Now he's got it done, but that's time lost.
Full course yellow
Andy Soucek in that last lap lost 4 seconds.
20 seconds.
We've got a full course yellow in 20 seconds because of debris on the track, and this is going to pay beautifully into the hands of Andy Soucek. This couldn't work out better because all the cars are going to slow down. He's going to lose relatively less time in the pits. He's 45 seconds up the road from the number 1 WRT Audi. This could work out perfectly for Soucek and Sims. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to have the full course yellow because of debris on the track between 12 and 13, and you can see now the cars slowing down.
There's Soucek coming in to the pit lane, and he's coming
McLaren.
Absolutely, did it ever go? That is just spitting out bits of metal.
It's 58, it's Alvaro Parent and Rob Bell.
And that car's pulling over immediately to the left-hand side of the track there. You see full course yellow signs.
M Sport Bentley in, Andy Soucek to hand over to Maxime Soulé, but normally in the pit lane, you're going slower than everyone else. Under a full course yellow, everyone else is going the same speed as them in the pit lane. We'll wait and see where they come out. It's Sims in as well.
Slicks come off the Bentley. What an inspired and courageous decision by the Bentley team. They may well have split, but I think they both actually went on to slick tyres before they got onto the grid. A big risk in doing so because they weren't sure the track would come to them, but they've worked hard on them. They've got that temperature. Once they got the temperature, then they could find the lap times, and Andy Soucek in particular has just been carving time up from the rest of the field.
So let's keep an eye out for where the number 1 car is. Is this it here? Yes, it is. So this is the number 1 car coming around, I think that's sort of turn 12, 13, 14 kind of area.
So they're making their way down onto the racetrack at 50 kilometers per hour.
The Bentley is in front then. Through the vinyl corner they come, and look at that. The Bentley's got all sorts of traffic now up in front. This has created a very, very spread out race. It's going to have to go 3 wide here. Across the line we come then, and it is Maxime Soulé as he crosses the line who leads the race here in the Blancpain Sprint Series. Second is Philippe Eng in the Row Racing BMW. That full course yellow worked absolutely perfectly for them. They started well down the grid. In 3rd place now, miles and miles back, is Frederic Verviche. And there's Alexander Sims. He must be thinking, not quite sure how this has happened.
Oh, he knows very well how it happened. It was a brave move. They took a chance. They put a set of slicks onto the brand new BMW M6, a car that really is still work in progress. And there you can see Maxime Soulé really hard on the lights to try and get these cars that are being lapped to move out of the way. He doesn't want to lose that momentum. The gap is currently 4.2 seconds as they came across the line to start lap 22. But we saw earlier in the race how easy it is to lose lap time if you get trapped behind a slower car.
16.5 minutes to go. Out onto the start-finish straight again.
Something's happened down there on the brakes.
That's an Audi. It's the number 2 car, and that is not a good moment at all for Stuart Leonard.
That's going to be a safety car, I suspect. It looked like the car under brakes just turned sharp left.
Yeah.
That's coming down pit straight.
So now the cars will have to crawl around at full course yellow pace. It's not like a safety car, so the field won't bunch up. They may still decide to deploy a safety car, but let's have a look here. Oh, there's contact. The Nissan. And is that the 23 car, I think, of Alex Buncombe that has had that collision? Couldn't quite make out the number. Well, here we go, on board with Buncombe.
So he goes to the left, and then all of a sudden the Audi's right in the front of the Nissan. And well, Alex Buncombe, I'm sure, has got a very good story because he felt the car came across the front of him, and that's where the contact occurred. But it was a heavy impact in the back of the Audi, and it sent it off.
And so hopefully we will hear from the race director in a moment. Here we go.
10 seconds.
10 seconds till we get green flag racing.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1 green flag.
Away we go then with 11.5 minutes remaining in the Blancpain GT Series Sprint Cup race here in Misano. That's the car that's leading. Maxime Soulé is at the wheel, but that's the car that's in second place. Philippe Eng, defending Porsche Super Cup champion, is right with the BMW, and there's a spin in front.
That's the Lamborghini. No.
It's one of the Nissans, it is the 23 car of Alex Buncombe, I think. But now we've got nose to tail for the lead of the race, and Philippe Eng is trying to decide how to attack. M Sport Bentley against Rowe BMW out over the start-finish straight, and still this Attempto Lamborghini that doesn't want to give up the fight, even though it's not involved in the lead battle, is going to get his 2 cents as well. And keep an eye out on that Bentley with the 0-1 on the windshield. That means he's running in first place. The car behind, unsurprisingly, will have a 0-2 on the windshield, and that is Philippe Eng. Philippe Eng, 2-time Porsche Carrera Cup Germany champion, Porsche Super Cup champion last year. He was test driver with BMW Sauber back in 2008. Oh, and that's wide from the Bentley. As Andy Soucek nervously watches on. Just a couple more corners now. Through the right-hander of turn 14, through 15, and down towards 16. There's 2 cars in the way, but they are not going to cause a problem for Maxime Soulé, who is going to win the opening round of the Blancpain GT Series, the Sprint Cup qualifying race, won by Bentley. Andy Soucek and Maxime Soulé with a phenomenal performance. They started on the dry tyres, and as a result, managed to lead from 9th on the grid to win the race. Philippe Eng and Alexander Sims finish in second place in the BMW M6. And now, look at this, side by side into the final corner. Nikolai Moller-Madsen coming together with the 22 Nissan. And there's Owen Moller-Madsen runs wide and spins. Look at him go. That's slicks on a wet track for you, goodness me. That must be a world record of pirouettes. That's a 9.5 from me for Nikolai Moller-Madsen. So Moller-Madsen goes out onto the grass, looks as though he's kept it together, but as he gets back onto the track, the back end escapes. And that's 1, 2, 3. He starts picking up speed. 4, 5, 6. I think we've got one more in us. Yes, 6 spins for Nikolai Moller-Madsen. But here is the number 8 M Sport Bentley. Their first race in the Sprint Cup, and it's a victory. Maxime Soulé, delighted for he, Andy Soucek, and the rest of the Bentley boys. Let's go down to John, let's hear from them.
Andy Soucek, there was real tension on your face, but what a great victory. You started on slicks. Is that the secret to the win?
I think so, but we really were not sure what to do. And the initial laps of the race was a nightmare. I said to the team, look, we will need to pit and put the reins. But then it started to dry out and it became a lot better. And look where we finished. I mean, unbelievable. Max did a good job as well, and I can't believe we won that one.
Well, Andy, you say it was typical in the early laps. Look down to the left front of your car. There's about 20,000 pounds worth of damage, but doesn't matter. You won.
I don't think Bentley will matter too much about the 20,000. If we won the race, I hit the Lambo. I was a bit unfortunate.
Okay, Maxime. Maxime, congratulations, but what was going on with the Lamborghini? Was it messing you about, or I mean, we were confused. What was he doing?
Yeah, I was faster, but you know, there was only one dry line, and it was very difficult to overtake without hitting him. So I waited for him to do a mistake and the traffic, and I took advantage of it, and we won. So
well done. Go and celebrate.
Here's a look at the results after 33 laps of racing around Misano. The qualifying race won by M Sport Bentley, Maxime Soulé and Andy Soucek. 3 seconds clear of the BMW M6 of Philippe Eng and Alexander Sims. Third for Vervies and Van Thor. Fourth for Frans and Van Thor, but the other Van Thor, Dries Van Thor, Lawrence's younger brother. Dominic Baumann and Maximilian Buchel, I think will be satisfied with 5th place at the end of that. Marco Seefried and Norbert Siedler possibly should have finished a bit higher up. Tristan Vautier and Felix Rosenquist finishing down in 8th place. Soucek and Soulé on the top step for M Sport Bentley. Now the trophies being awarded to the winners. A beautiful day here in Misano after the miserable rainy evening qualifying race. We have got a perfect spring afternoon for the 1 hour main race, the one that offers all the 25 points for the victor. It also offers 30,000 euros of prize money for the victor as well. That small little detail. It's a lovely day, 19.7 degrees. The air temperature, track temperature is 36.3 degrees, so much different conditions to yesterday, and in fact different conditions than these drivers have faced throughout the entirety of the weekend, because Friday was rained off, Saturday qualifying was pretty cold, and yesterday's race was wet. My name is Jack Nichols. John Watson is down on the grid, down on a very busy grid, because we've got 38 cars down there getting ready to take to the start. It's going to be a very entertaining race around this 4.2 kilometer Misano circuit built in 1972. They actually reversed the direction of the track a couple of 10 years ago now in order to improve the safety of the venue, but it really is a fantastic circuit. A bit of undulation, but predominantly a kind of flat base circuit in amongst the rolling hills of the Adriatic coastline here in Italy, and the 16 corners really challenge the teams and the drivers and the cars. So that is a look at the track. That is a look at the very busy grid. As I say, 38 cars. And let's hear from Laurens Vanthoor, the man who started on pole position yesterday, but didn't work out in the end. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Laurent, we saw you start in pole on Saturday night. You're on the second row of the grid. Briefly explain why.
I don't want to comment too much about yesterday. I made a point about some bad luck we had on Field Cross Yellow. We talked about it. Maybe there will be some changes in the future. I don't know. Again, I think at the point, but today is today. It's where the big points are given away, and I think we're in a good position. The car has proven to be good, so it will be exciting. Will be an exciting first corner with 39 cars. So let's see.
You've tested here earlier in the year. I mean, maybe the weather wasn't brilliant, but today is probably the best day of the year here in Misano.
Yeah, until now, yes. I think it's different for everybody. It's warmer than it was yesterday. Yesterday was cold and partly wet. So yeah, everybody doesn't have a lot of preparation. We've been here testing, so maybe we're a step ahead of some of them, maybe not. Difficult to tell. We'll be able to tell you in a little bit more than an hour, but I think I'm confident we're good. But yeah, let's see.
One final question: How proud are you of your younger brother Dries?
Yeah, really proud. It was difficult yesterday to follow, because obviously I was following Fred closely, and often I had my other eye on my brother, and I have to say I was surprised, because yesterday mixed conditions in the dark with a lot of traffic, and he did really well, and he left some experienced guys behind him. So yeah, I'm proud of him, and I hope. Curious how he will do now in a big start. I think he's quite nervous, but he's capable of doing a good job. So let's see.
Thanks, Laurent. Well, on that subject, Vincent Vos, Dries Vanthoor, is this the next big star of the Belgium?
Well, Dries, I mean, since the beginning of story, I mean, since the beginning of the testing this winter, Dries has been doing a very strong job, and yeah, we are surprised, because yesterday it was some very special conditions, difficult conditions, and he proved himself there. But okay, season is still very long, and we wish him a very good race and a very good season with him.
Now, 2016 has seen a massive increase in the grids for the sprint race. Have you any thoughts on that, apart from half the grid being made up of Audis?
Well, it means something. It means Audi was maybe the only manufacturer capable of delivering so many cars. They were ready a year before most of the new cars. So yeah, that's the point. And well, the service from Audi and the support from Audi on track is it's incredible, and I think that's one of the reasons.
Vincent Vos, many thanks. See you later.
So there's words from the WRT Audi gang. Laurens Vanthoor there talking to Frederic Vervisch. They're going to be starting in third place on the grid. Vervisch, the Belgian in the Belgian Audi club, who impressed everyone at the end of last year by filling in for Vanthoor when he got injured here at Misano. And the 29-year-old former German F3 champion Vervisch will be starting in third place on the grid. Let's hear from Stefan Rattel. What a difference a year makes from 16 cars on the grid last year.
Happy New Year.
Stefan, what a fantastic grid. I don't ever seen a sprint race with so many cars. I can't say you must be very proud.
I'm very happy. Proud, I don't know, because I must be proud of all the teams that trusted us, all the manufacturers that trusted us, and the fantastic team at SRO that put this grid together. But I think we definitely have the right concept with, having reduced the sprint to 5 races, integrated with the 5 endurance race into one Blancpain GT Series. I think that was the idea. Also more restricted in focused on in Europe. I think also that was the right decision, and altogether it works, and the quality is there. The number of professional cars is the highest we ever had. So I look forward for the season, and I hope to offer the spectators and all the GT fans one of the best seasons we ever had.
Stefan, last night's race was in the rain, therefore unpredictable. Today it's a gorgeous day here at Misano. Put your predictable hat on. Who do you think is going to win?
I have no idea, and that's the beauty of GT3 racing. Good balance of performance, no idea. The best will win.
Thank you.
The best will win, says Stefan Rattel, the boss of the Stefan Rattel organisation, SRO, who run and promote the Blancpain GT Series. Maxime Soulet then at the wheel of the pole-sitting Bentley. They started on slicks yesterday. They did receive a €1,000 fine for not changing one of their tyres in the pit stop, but they still start on pole. Let's hear from Nicky Katzberg, one of the Row Racing BMW drivers.
All right, Nicky, your car's not on the front row of the grid, but the sister car is. Are you surprised or delighted, or just both?
Yeah, definitely both. I mean, we started 26, 28 yesterday. And
30th.
Oh, 30th, really, even worse. So, yeah, to find our sister car on P2 yesterday was a big surprise. Obviously a little bit lucky, but in the end we made some improvements, and I think today we might be strong again, so let's see.
Whereabouts do you think you're going to get in your car?
I hope maybe, yeah, top 10, top 5 would be good. Let's see what we can do.
Now, obviously the conditions are totally different. Better or not for you?
I'm not sure. In qualifying we were struggling a bit, so conditions are similar now. Let's hope our improvements are better and we can be better than in qualifying.
Have a good one, Nicky. Thanks.
So Nicky Katzberg there, whose car will be starting in 10th place on the grid. Steph Dusseldorp will be at the wheel as the grid is beginning to get cleared. So it's Maxime Soulet on pole position. Their teammate, Katzberg's teammates, I should say, alongside him on the front row. Philip Eng will start the 99 Row Racing M6. Then Vervish, who we've already heard from in 3rd. Dries Van Thor in 4th position on the grid. Then the first of the HTP Mercedes, Dominic Baumann, starting that car that he shares with Maximilian Buch in 5th position. And Marco Seifried and Norbert Siedler in the 333 Rinaldi. There you can see on the left-hand side, that is the pole position car, Maxime Soulet starting it. Then we've got Vervish versus Van Thor on the left and the right, respectively. There's the 333 Rinaldi Ferraro. They wanted to have their 488 here, but it's not ready in time, and so it's only a 458. The same car, though, that took them to 2 victories and a pole position here last season. Then next up, we've got the 8th car of Tristan Vautier. He is alongside Frank Stippler. The highest of the McLarens is Rob Bell in 9th place. They recovered after a poor start. Alvaro Perez started that car in 2nd place, but incorrect tyre pressures meant they dropped back through the order pretty rapidly. Car 26 there is going to be started by Mike Parisi. Then we've got a whole row of WRT cars. Enzo Eade and Will Stevens. Will Stevens was given a post-race penalty yesterday, which dropped him back through the order, a 30-second time penalty, which means he's going to be starting down in 14th place on the grid. 23 car, Alex Buncombe will start that on the left-hand side. The RJ and Nissan, then the first of the Attempto Racing Lamborghinis. Keep an eye out for them. Nikolai Moller-Madsen had some spectacular spins yesterday. He is alongside the number 7 Bentley. The other Nissan is back here, the 22 car on the left of Ricardo Sanchez, alongside the Boots and Gignon McLaren that finished 2nd in the Pro-Am class. And the grid just goes on and on. We're in those commentary boxes on the right-hand side. Normally our view is empty, but I can still see the last 3 rows of the grid, which is absolutely fantastic. There you can see another of the WRT cars. That's the Felipe Albuquerque car that got knocked out of the race. The 59 McLaren ended up laps down after missing the start. But good news to see on the right-hand side there, the HTP Motorsport car of the 85 car, isn't it? Sorry, I'm just getting all my HTPs confused. But the Clem Schmidt Jasmine Jafar car will take the start, we believe, after the car is fixed. And right at the back is the 86 car of Jules Simkowiak and Bernd Schneider. So the formation lap gets underway here in Misano. We'll take you through the full grid in a couple of moments' time. But a real air of anticipation. Thankfully, the 59 car gets away this time. Didn't manage to yesterday, but this time all the cars are making their way out there. 63 at the back will be Mirko Bortolotti, the man who did get on the podium here at the end of last season, is going to be starting in 38th and last place for this race today. We've got Stuart Leonard out there, which is good to see. That car has been fixed as we all get ready through for the start of the race, John. Good atmosphere down on the grid.
Certainly a lot more cheerful than it was last night in pretty awful conditions. A beautiful day here right now. What's going to be different, obviously, is many of the teams that have turned up here this weekend have not had the opportunity to run their cars in this kind of condition, these temperatures, track temperature. Others have been here. AMG have been here and tested, didn't have a lot of dry weather. Audi obviously have been here. But of course, track position is so important, and the Bentley and the BMW in the front row of the grid have a good chance of controlling the race initially anyway.
It is Soule and Eng on the front row in the Bentley and the BMW respectively. Then it's Vervish and Van Thor, two WRT Audis on row number 2. Then we've got the first of the Mercedes in the hands of Dominic Baumann and the Ferrari 458 for Marco Seefried and Norbert Siedler. Tristan Vautier will be wanting to get a good start in his ACA ASP car. Then 9th place for the first of the McLarens, Rob Bell, sharing with Alvaro Perez. Steph Dusseldorp will start in 10th place. Mike Parisi 11th alongside Raffaele Giammaria in the number 90 Ferrari. Then we've got Enzo Eade starting 13th alongside Will Stevens, 14th in his first main race in the Blancpain Series. Nicky Meermanov 15th alongside Michele Beretta in the first of the Grasser Racing Lamborghini Hurricanes. Watch out for Daniel Zampieri, really quick yesterday. He's going to be starting in 18th place on the grid, just in front of Moller Madsen. The number 7 Bentley down in 20th spot with Vincent Abril at the wheel. Then we've got Van Splunteren and Broniszewski in the Lamborghini and Ferrari respectively. Henkeler in the car that finished second in Pro-Am alongside Maxime Martin starting in 24th position. Jean-Luc Bobelic in the other Pro-Am car starting in 26th. They finished third in Pro-Am yesterday. Then we've got Christian Hook and Steve Parrow in the Black Pearl Ferrari. Marlon Stockinger ended up in the gravel yesterday, so as a result he starts down in 30th place just in front of Laurent Geny and Ricardo Baptista, completing the top field of the orders. Through the final corner we come then, the racing about to get underway. Pole position as we look at it is Maxime Soule. Philippe Eng alongside him, and the first main race of the season is go! Down towards the first corner. It's not the best start from the Bentley. A look up the inside, around the outside goes Philippe Eng. The Mercedes takes the lead of the race. The BMW M6 into the front for row racing. Everybody else very busy throughout the back of the pack, but a good start from the M6. It's into the lead of the race. Rob Bell is looking racy up the inside. It's so busy. 3 wide there as Steph Dusseldorp gets shuffled out wide, and that'll cost him a couple of positions. But we're all safely through the first couple of corners, John, and a fantastic start for Philippe Eng.
Yeah, I mean, he really got the bite off the start, and just that run down, whether it was wheel spin or whether it was just, I don't know, anticipation, but the BMW got the advantage over the Bentley in the run down into turn 1 and is able to maintain it. So we saw the Bentley and the BMW battle the latter stages of the race in last night's wetter conditions. The BMW certainly, oh, and that somebody runs way, way wide.
It's
one
the
of the
McLaren. 58 McLaren of Rob Bell running wide on the way into that corner. We're on board here with Steph Dusseldorp in the other row racing BMW. There's the move for second place. Up the inside, it's Frederic Vervish going past yesterday's race winner Maxime Soule, and Vervish is through into second spot then for the Belgian Audi Club, and Dries Van Thor is going to try and follow through before too long, and he's late and he hits him. Van Thor clouts the Bentley. That allows Dominic Baumann up past into third position, but Maxime Soule will be frustrated with that.
Yeah, this is the car that won the race last night. Now the chances of doing anything, getting in the points, very much restricted. Sitting there waiting for the entire field on the opening lap to get through before he can rejoin the track, and I've no doubt that incident will be seen as an avoidable incident for the young Dries Van Thor. He may have to suffer a penalty for being just maybe a little bit impatient.
Eng leads in the BMW, Vervish is second in the Audi, third is Dominic Baumann then in the HDP Mercedes, then it is Dries Van Thor in fourth place, then Tristan Vautier in the ACA Mercedes. Marco Seefried is in sixth position. We've also had car 74 off on this first lap. That is Marlon Stockinger, his third trip to the gravel trap this weekend. But everybody else safely through that first lap. But now Philippe Eng is going to be under a lot of pressure. Here's Daniele Zampieri in the 101 car trying to challenge Michele Beretta in the Lamborghini in front of him.
Yeah, we saw Zampieri last night getting involved in the battle for the lead of this race. He was a lap down, but he showed, I mean, the same level of pace as the two lead cars were doing. And, I mean, he probably enjoyed it, but the two lead cars certainly didn't.
Philipp Eng leading the way, a second clear of Frederik Vervisch in second place. That's going to be the challenge now for that BMW M6 that only qualified well down the order into the mid-20s yesterday, all of a sudden leading the race and doing so with reasonable comfort at the present time. Okay, we're only in the early stages, but reasonable pace, I think, for them. The 7 car of Vincent Abril, meanwhile, is there in 22nd place, so not the start these guys wanted.
No, but I mean, it's interesting that the BMW has pulled out over a second of an advantage at the end of the first lap, and again, in the first sector, as they go on to the third lap, they're now actually pulling further away, so the BMW has got genuine dry track condition pace, more so than the two Audis that are following, or the Bentley.
Yeah, as they come out now towards the final sequence of corners, there's the look up the inside from the number 8 Bentley as he tries to recover. Maxime Soulet making a move on Baptista. There's Andy Soucek, who was so happy yesterday. Now, not so much. Battles on the run down into turn 1 as Soulet dives up the inside. He has now climbed up to 32nd place and is now going side by side with Stuart Leonard in that number 2 WRT Audi in their battle over 31st position. How things can change, especially in a field as big as this. You go from 1st to 31st.
Yeah, it was just very unfortunate. The tag came in the middle of the first lap and there was no way to get back on track without having it causing another incident. But Maxime Soulet literally using bits of the racetrack that probably nobody ever thought were there in an attempt to get the Bentley number 8 back up into some level of contention. Let's look again and see what happened. So and it's the young Dries Van Thor. He did, I think, everything possible. It wasn't a conscious or deliberate move, but he just found himself in a situation where the Bentley was slowing more than the Audi was doing, and it didn't take a lot of contact just to rotate the Bentley. The gap between the BMW leading and the Audi in second place, Van Thor, has sort of stabilized. It was up to just over a second. Now it looks like it's going to be just under that second. Laurent Van Thor, who's got a lot of sort of almost sort of underlying anger because of what occurred in Saturday night's sprint race. He wants to get that victory he feels he could have had, but was denied.
It's Vervisch at the wheel at the moment, though, in that number 1 WRT Audi, and Dries Van Thor just went wide as well and allowed Tristan Vautier through at the final corner. So Dries Van Thor drops down to 5th position. There's Nikolai Moller-Madsen in the number 5 Phoenix Racing Audi. Lights are flashing on the 75 car of Frank Stippler as he now tries to challenge the Ferrari in front of him, but behind him we've got the 99 car of Steph Dusseldorp in the Rowe Racing BMW as they come down towards the hairpin of turn 8. All these cars starting to queue up behind Marco Seefried now as they get on the brakes, and Dusseldorp thinks about a little look, but he's got Will Stevens up behind him. Then it's Nicky Meyer-Melnoff behind him and Alex Buncombe completing the back of that long, long train. Fantastic to have such a big grid in the Blancpain GT Series.
Dusseldorp coming under threat as they all come down to turn 4, and this is just simply everybody's just following one another, and if there's a little gap at all, and there is the battle for the lead, and Laurent Van Thor now in probably a much more sorted car relative to where BMW are. They've not had the level of time at the track to do testing. Nevertheless, Philipp Eng doing a great job. Fastest lap, the 1:34.2, and Laurens Van Thor directly behind him by half a second, a tenth of a second a lap quicker.
Yep, so Eng leading, Frederik Vervisch in second place in that number 1 WRT Audi. Can Vervisch get close enough? We go on board with Vervisch, I'll say his name again, on the run down towards turn 1, but he's not quite close enough. Then it's a very lonely Dominic Baumann running in 3rd position. Then look at this queue behind the Ferrari, Audi, BMW, Audi, Nissan, Audi, Lamborghini. Round through turn 2. You can see the numbers on the top of the windshield there are the positions. So 14th place. Oh, there's a look up the inside from Dusseldorp, but he's not quite close enough to get the move done on Frank Stippler. 7 minutes gone. And here is the lead of the race, battling it out. Philipp Eng, defending Porsche Super Cup champion, battling it out with Frederik Vervisch in second place in the number 1 WRT Audi. Vincent Voss nearest towards us, Pierre Dieudonné with the spectacles, watching the action unfold, and they will feel they should have won this race yesterday as we go on board with Vervisch again, out onto the back stretch.
So V8 turbocharged engine in the Bentley and in the BMW against the V10 aspirated engine in the Audi. There's not an awful lot to pick and choose. The BMW certainly is the physically bigger car, bigger hole. It's got a punch in the air. And of course, the extremely well sorted Audi of Frederic Vervisch is the back end momentarily stepping out as he came through turn 13 into turn 14. So the gap pretty much constant in this final sector of the circuit. Vervisch using a lot of the curve on the inside in turn 15 just to try and straight line it as much as possible. So come across the line. Last time through it was 0.6 of a second. It's probably going to be hovering around the same amount right now. 0.490.
Drive-through penalty to car number 4, causing a collision.
That is race director Alan Adam then giving us the information that Dries van Thor has been given a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. Not particularly unexpected, that decision, I don't think.
No, I think that, I mean, any contact where another car loses out, the perpetrator is going to suffer some degree of penalty, and in this case it's a drive-through for young Dries van Thorn. It's a hard lesson, but he was the guy who was responsible for the contact.
Look how close Steph Dusseldorp is to the back of Frank Stippler. Stippler driving an ISR Audi this year. He's raced for Sansalok in the past, he's raced for WRT, now he's with the ISR Czech squad in their battle over 8th and 9th places, but still the two leaders running nose to tail. Where is Vervisch going to be able to find a way through? Now here comes the battle between the Ferrari in 7th, the 8th place Audi, and the 9th place BMW. And actually Will Stevens there in the 28 WRT Audi has closed right in, but the 99 Row Racing BMW, which you have to say is doing a pretty good job up the front. He's lapping similar pace to all of the top 5, so we wondered whether Row would have the pace considering where they qualified. Well, 30th on the grid, you didn't know if they'd exactly have the pace, but it seems all right so far.
Well, I think what we saw on Friday and then Saturday, the running on Friday was slightly better than Saturday, so everybody's potential overall lap time performance has been masked, and of course being at the front of the grid makes it so much easier than being in the middle of a battle, particularly with 38 cars in a field. So Philippe Eng is able to drive his own race, take the lines he wants. He's not compromised by having to brake early or maybe go slightly offline to try and get an advantage. And the only thing I can say is that Frederic Vervisch is keeping him very honest. And there is Dries van Thor coming through for his drive-through penalty for that infringement on the opening lap when he spun around the winning car from last night, driven by
Max Soule. Yes, and it is a long pit lane here, so that is really going to compromise him. A word for Mirko Bortolotti. He started 38th. He's already up to 24th, so that's impressive. Do you think Laurence was so annoyed with what happened yesterday in the Bentley winning? He said, "Oh, Dries, do me a favour, punt him out, won't you?"
I never take a cynic to think that, and I couldn't possibly comment.
We've got 49 minutes to go then. 15 minutes till the pit stop window opens. Between 35 minutes to go and 25 minutes to go, they have to come in, change all 4 tyres, and change drivers, and head back out onto the circuit again. This is the battle for the lead of the race. Philippe Eng leading it at the moment in that number 99 car. 2008 Sauber test driver, 2-time Porsche Carrera Cup Germany winner. Philippe Eng, the 26-year-old Austrian, under a lot of pressure from Frederic Vervisch, but it's reasonable pressure, but he's not right under the rear wing just yet. As I say that, they come across the line closer than they've ever been. The gap was 0.4 of a second. It's now down to just under 0.4 of a second.
To some degree, Philippe Eng has got the upper hand because he realises that for the last 7 laps now, that the Audi has not been able to overtake. It's been able to run very close. So to some degree, and this coming into turn 1, to some degree Philippe Eng will be comforted by that, because I think that Frederic Vervisch has given him the best of his car, the best of his tyres, and it's unlikely, unless there's traffic further in this race, that we're going to see a serious challenge from the Audi on the BMW.
This is the other BMW of Steph Dusseldorp that at the moment is running in 8th position, right up behind the ISR Audi of Frank Stippler. Stippler a bit out of shape through turn 6. Is that going to give Dusseldorp an advantage? Doesn't really. Seems as though the Audi has got a bit of an edge in straight line speed. A little dart out to the inside, and Stevens goes for it late in the day. Good move from Will Stevens. He goes through up into 8th place.
Opportunistic move by Will Stevens, and very well thought out. He's been working in that one. Saw the opportunity. Steph Dusseldorp focused on what was going on ahead and sort of ignored the Audi behind him, and all of a sudden the Audi is up alongside on the inside into turn 8 and a sweet little pass.
Yep, so this is all queuing up behind the 6th place man, Marco Seefried. Meanwhile, Rob Bella's got in front of all these guys and is up into 5th position. There is Nick Katzberg in the middle seat as we look at it. On the left-hand side was Alexander Sims watching his teammate battling it out for the lead of the race. Row Racing getting plenty of airtime in their new BMW M6 this weekend here at Misano as they come across the line. Still 0.4 of a second between the two of them.
Yeah, I sort of predict that the outcome of this race is going to be another race won by pit stops, because we know how well honed the WRT team are. We don't know how well the Row Racing team are with the BMW. We knew they were great with the Mercedes, but BMW, different car.
Round the outside.
Battles all the way through the field down into turn 1.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? Fantastic racing here in the Blancpain GT Series. The Sprint Cup races, the Ferrari one's wide. Is that the opportunity? Up the inside goes Frank Stippler, and he finally manages to get through into 6th place past Marco Seefried. Will Stevens now is right up behind the Ferrari in that WRT Audi with the green flashes. Will he try and make a move coming down into the heaven of turn 8? He's already made a move there once before. Race leaders still nose to tail. Philip Eng ahead of Verviche. There's the move from Stevens. As soon as he did it last time, he knew what it needed to get the job done. 2 places in 2 laps for the Englishman.
Absolutely, and that is an indication of a guy who's got a good racing brain on his shoulders, because he got through the BMW by doing that trick, and the Ferrari again caught completely wrong-sided. So BMW leads, Audi and Mercedes in 3rd place. Gap, well...
and Dusseldorf, I think he's been spun out there, because just as we cut away from that, it looked as though whoever was behind him, Nicky Meyer-Melnoff, was nosing up the inside. So I think Meyer-Melnoff may have had a little nudge on Dusseldorf. Hopefully we'll get a look at that, but it's not good news for that Row Racing car, while the other one is just in the lead of the race. But coming to join the party now is Dominic Baumann and Tristan Vautier. Baumann is now just 1.6 seconds behind this gang. On the last lap, he was 0.5 of a second quicker. Baumann's on his way.
Indeed, so the Mercedes making it a German BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz sandwich. As we see the Nissan making its way down into turn 1, Alex Buncombe in 10th place. And he's got Nicky Meyer-Melnoff directly ahead of him. But of course he's got to be very careful, because the Audi directly, and number 12.
Yep, that's the Boots and Gignon BMW that's had a rotation, and it's Henkeler. And there's the move for the lead of the race, and the BMW turns in, just about keeps it in front, Philip Eng, but Verviche is all over the back of him.
Yeah, Verviche, unlike Will Stevens, didn't get alongside the car. He was overtaking sufficiently. So Alexander Sims, well, his attention's been focused on that little maneuver from Frederick Verviche. So the Audi now are really applying pressure like it's ever been applied so far this afternoon on the BMW. I mean, he can't get very much closer without really losing out completely. So a move at the end of this straight with the dog leg into turn 13 would be a big, big task, particularly when you're on the brakes and turning the wheels. So sit back, just consolidate for the next couple of corners. You can do it up through turn 15. We've seen that happen over the weekend, but it's risky. You've got to, again, be absolutely alongside the car, and the Audi isn't in that position at this moment.
9 minutes till the pit stop window opens. Through the final corner in the Blancpain GT Series, the first main race of the season, and it's Philip Eng leading the way in the Row Racing BMW. Second is Frederick Verviche in the number 1 WRT Audi. There is the Belgian. He's going to be handing over to Laurens van Thor when the pit stop window opens, but there's Dominic Baumann in the 84 HTP Mercedes. They were really happy with their pace in warm-up this morning. There's the little dart to the inside, and Philip Eng has left it too late. They're going to make contact there, rubbing door handles as they come all the way around. Turn 4, turn 5, and look at that. The BMW is still in there. Verviche goes around the outside of 6. Was that over the excess of the track limits? We'll have to wait and see, but Baumann is pushing as well now in the 84 Mercedes. He's on the outside line on the run down, and he's got it done on the brakes. So WRT lead, HTP are in 2nd position.
In fact, I think that the Mercedes-Benz had a much better exit out of turn 8, and now he's looking to put a challenge onto the Audi. So the battle between the Audi and the BMW has been the big focus, and the Mercedes has just swooped up, got past the BMW at the earliest opportunity, and now Baumann is going to put all the pressure and heat on Frederick Verviche that Verviche was putting on to the BMWs a lap ago.
Fantastic stuff. 43 minutes to go, and we've had the change for the lead of the race. Frederick Verviche leads it in the number 1 WRT Audi. It's the 84 HTP Bentley of Dominic Baumann that's in 2nd position. Philip Eng didn't see that move coming. He saw it too late, thought about closing the door, but knew it would have ended up with a collision.
Well, sometimes you lose vision of the car just because of maybe the position of mirrors or position of the car on the track. There's always a blind spot on the mirrors somewhere, and if that's where the Audi found itself, then it would have maybe wrong-sided Philippe. So he's now really struggling to find pace to get back into second place. The Mercedes has been very strong. Dominic Baumann, who hasn't had that much seat time in the car, particularly in dry conditions, and that was really a sort of part of where they only ended up finishing 5th in the sprint race on Saturday night. So he's learning pretty quickly. He's up into second place, and he's running strong.
But now, 2012 Indy Lights champion Tristan Vautier is joining this action as well in the ACA Mercedes-Benz. We just saw a look at Maximilian Buch there, watching his teammate now in second position. Good work from Baumann to close in and get in on all of this action. Less than 42 minutes to go now. We've still got 6 minutes till the pit stop window opens. We've lost Mike Parisi, I'm sorry to say. He was starting quite high up the order, 11th place for that Saint-Aloc car, but he has fallen out. So there's the top 4. Then it's Rob Bell all alone in 5th, and then, goodness me, let's try and figure out what this is. It's Nicky Meyer-Melnoff being passed around the outside by Alex Buncombe. Good stuff from Buncombe in the Nissan to go past Meyer-Melnoff, and that is him up into somewhere like the top 10. It's all changed a little bit here, so I'll try and get my head around it.
Well, I think Alex Buncombe at one point was in the top 10, but he's down into 12th place. But this battle, this group of cars has probably been swapping places pretty much all the way around the lap, and if you get slightly wrong-footed in a part of the circuit, then you're going to be swooped upon by, basically, it's like a swarm of Audis rather than a swarm of bees.
Buch getting ready. 5 minutes to go before the pit window opens. And we could have a classic Buch-Vanthoor battle.
Yeah, but
HDP versus WRT.
Yeah, but the battle I'm looking forward to is when Tristan Vautier hands over to young Felix Rosquith in the second of these two AMG Mercedes. A young pairing coming out of single-seater racing, in fact still involved in single-seater racing, and they're doing a really impressive job in their first race together.
Rosenqvist won his debut in the Indy Lights Championship in St. Petersburg a couple of weeks ago, so very impressive stuff. Car 12 has just had a warning for ignoring the track limits. That's the Bussen-Gini on BMW of Henkeler, so that's not really affecting the orders. And there you can see Vautier right on the back now of Philippe Eng. The Silver Cup is for drivers ranked silver in the FIA classifications, is currently being led by Nikolai Moller-Madsen and Marcus Pommer in the number 5 Phoenix Audi. Then it's Michele Beretta and then Max van Splunteren. The top 3 in that particular class. They're in 14th, 16th and 17th respectively. But look how quickly Vautier has closed in on Philippe Eng over these last few laps.
Yeah, and in fact, the Mercedes currently is capable of lapping quicker, but of course it's got to find a way past the BMW to try and get into contention to make it a Mercedes second and third. And still this mid-group, I mean, it's just unbelievable how they're looking for track and finding the bit of track they want without tripping over another car.
It's Nicky Meyer-Melnoff. This is under pressure from Romain Monti in the Saint-Aloc Audi. They're battling over 12th place now. Buncombe's up to 11th, therefore. Marco Seefried has dropped all the way down to 10th position now. That 333 Ferrari, there it is, the green one that won here last year, started 6th on the grid. They've been losing positions.
Yeah, they've had a slight adjustment to BOP. They've got a bit of horsepower taken away, a little bit of weight added, but more critically, they've had a rise in the rear ride height, and that's affected the balance of the car. So while it's still a very quick car, we saw that again last night, it isn't quite at the level of performance we saw a few months ago when we were here for the final round of sprint.
Great action from the onboard with Alex Buncombe. Feather on the throttle, then accelerate through turn 6. Picking up the speed, you can see how much lap time he's been taking. Oh, and off into the gravel, that's one of the McLarens. No, it's not, it's the 25 car, it's Monti. So Romain Monti has been in the gravel. Has he had an incident with Nicky Meyer-Melnoff? All of that has allowed Nikolai Moller-Madsen to come through past Meyer-Melnoff. So Moller-Madsen is now up into 12th position. Moller-Madsen and Meyer-Melnoff are a commentator's dream as they race together on the track.
Now again, that was down at turn 6. That's the scene of been a number of incidents, and of course you can run very wide there. That's been also noted as we go back to this battle for second place. The BMW hanging on, and opportunities coming with traffic.
It's the battle for third place because Dominic Baumann has already got past these two. First and second still only separated by 1 second. Vervish leading for WRT Audi, Baumann second for HDP Mercedes. Then third is this Row Racing BMW for Philipp Eng. And fourth is that man, Tristan Vautier, in the ACA ASP Mercedes. The ACA team regulars as they get caught up here behind the 55 car of Claudio Stanisvic. So hopefully they will he will move out of the way, and he does so. But ACA have been campaigning Ferraris for some 10 years, but this year decided actually let's go for it. Let's make a switch. Let's get some Mercedes in, and Jerome Policon's team are certainly reaping the rewards, battling up at the front in sprint.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams have been looking around because there's a lot of new product there. There are 2 of them, the BMW M6 and the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3. The Ferrari 458 is sort of now last year's car. The 488 supersedes it. So they've decided to go with something which is, I think, looks great, and it's performing really well. Slightly different in technical terms to the former SLS AMG. Basically slightly shorter on the wheelbase and a little bit more nimble on race tracks like this, where previously the SLS wouldn't have been at its best.
And there's a Wolf very close to his Vautier as he gets on the brakes. We've just got a minute and a half now before the pit stop window opens. So next time through will be the opportunity to make pit stops if you want to. Well, maybe not. Well, it'll be really touch and go actually for the race leaders as to whether they can get into the pits. Actually, they should be able to. But if you're Vervish, you're lapping well, do you come in straight away and hand over to Laurens van Thor, the man who took pole position, or do you try and stay out as long as possible?
Well, that's a difficult one to answer, because if you've got control of the race and you're running at a pace which is pretty much the pace of the field, you might argue you want to stay out. My view is probably come in earlier, and bearing in mind everybody in the field has pretty much got a new set of tyres to fit at that pit stop. It's more a matter of where you would filter back in and how that might have an effect on your opening laps on those fresh rubber, or on that fresh rubber. So you want them at maximum attack if possible in a Lamborghini coming in. That's early.
So Stefan Racina coming in to hand over to Jerome Blakemolen.
It's too early.
It is too early.
Well, it may not be. He's going really slow in the pit lane. He's hoping he's going to get to the line, but he's going to make the line before the pit lane opens, as far as I can see.
He's not going to, though, because I'm looking out the window and he's crossed the pit entry line now. So 8 seconds too soon for that Lamborghini. You can see he's come to a stop, but it's too late. You've crossed the pit entry line, unless
he's got a problem. He's got a problem.
So the pit stop window is open then, but the battle is still on for third place. Philipp Eng in the 99 BMW M6, holding on to that spot at the moment. But here's our race leader, Vervish. He stays out. Baumann in for HDP.
Good call. Good call. Because Maximilian Buch will get into the car, and again, it's going to be where will he get back into the event. That looks like the BMW sort of slightly slow off turn. 14.
That's the 99 BMW with Steph Dusseldorp at the wheel.
Just didn't seem to have the punch off the corner. The idea was able to get up alongside and pass cleanly. So Baumann is in, and I think
Rob Bell is in as well to hand over to Alvaro Parent. Here is the pit stop for HDP. Let's see if it all goes according to plan. Still trying to strap in Max Buch, but they've done it.
So Max Buch has got a seat.
Fire it up, away he goes. That's a
and the Audi's rolling
getaway.
ahead. He's lost time. The Audi got in and out ahead.
We'll try and see what I think that might be an Audi that's a lot lower down the order, though. It looks like
it
the
may
other
well
ISR.
be, but it's a car he's going to have to pass.
Yes,
and it's a car that might slow him down initially in the early part of the lap. And every second, once you've made your pit stop, counts. Whatever you lose here or in the pit lane is time you find difficult making up.
So there's the Boots and Gignon BMW. Then it's the ISR Audi. It's Stockinger, who's already been in the gravel today and had to be fished out of it. So he is 3 laps down on the rest of the drivers out there. So Buch needs to get past this guy as quickly as possible. Looks to the inside. Good job from Stockinger. Gets out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, Maxi Buch was not going to waste time hanging in behind the Audi, and he made it very clear the body language from the Mercedes was, I'm coming through, get out of my way.
Vervish stays out again. If I was Acker here, you're getting held up behind the BMW. Would you not bring Vautier in and stick Rosenquist in the car?
In my view, yes. I think that once you've done you've seen what's happened, particularly since the second place Mercedes came in, I would want to be doing the same.
Into the pits comes the other row BMW, Steph Dusseldorp. He will be handing over to Nick Katzberg. That car is well down the order now, of course, after getting involved in a myriad of incidents, down in 33rd place. But here's the second place car of Philipp Eng. Into the pits comes the other row BMW we just mentioned. On the brakes and into the pit garage.
I suppose the logic to keep these lead cars out is because as long as they've got that clear track, they're not anywhere near lapping some of the tail enders, but the danger is that they will be catching up cars that have opted to come in and will be going out. Their rubber will be fresher, while the overall performance of that car may not be as great as the lead cars. It will make it time potentially lost in trying to get through. So that's the gamble you take by making your pit stop later, as we see the Nissan in.
So this is Alex Buncombe handing over to Takaboshi.
So Alex Buncombe in and out of the car. So this is the second and third battle that's gone on. So
Maximilian Buch has set the fastest final sector of anyone on these new tyres.
Well, no surprise. No surprise. So when are you going to bring in the race leader? Okay, he's now in a position, and that's the second place. No, that's the
Vervish.
So they're catching up to the tail of the cars that came in slightly earlier. So that this for them, for WRT, is the optimum time to bring in Frederik Vervish. Took the lead of this race and has held it off in spite of a challenge from the Mercedes. And now it'll be Laurens van Thor who will be getting in behind the wheel. And Laurens will be hoping that this will be a run to the checkered flag.
Also in has come Tristan Vautier to hand over to Felix Rosenqvist, and Philipp Eng has stayed out there. So this is the lap for Rosenqvist that'll make all the difference in that battle over third place on the final podium spot.
Good job from the ACA team. Both the right side wheels off and on, cleanly, no problems there.
Now, of course, this is their first run-in sprint, the same for Rowe. And although you have to do these pits in the Endurance Cup, the fuel is the limiting factor. Whereas here, the tyre change is the limiting factor. So that could cost them at points. Now, has the number one, I think the number one Audi might have left. There's a problem for the 88 car. Is there? Away he goes finally, but that looked a little bit slow. But where the 84 car is coming down now towards turn one. Here is the number one car with Laurens van Thor at the wheel. I think the WRT machine is going to come out and hold the lead of the race. One of the other cars comes with, but where's Buch? Is he going to come into shot behind? Yes, I think that's Buch there. The 4 car is out of this one because he's had a drive-through penalty and various other incidents. It's Maximilian Buch in the HTP Mercedes that we need to try and find. But it looks to me as though he is behind. The 4 car just getting out of the way. But there's Van Thor down into the hairpin. Swinging through that long left-hander of turn 8. And yes, Buch is behind. I've just seen him out the window. There he is there in the 84 HTP Mercedes. So Van Thor inherits the net lead of this race. Quite a way clear of Maximilian Buch, and Buch's got some traffic as well at the moment. Philipp Eng is now in the pits.
Yeah, and of course, Maximilian Buch may not get too many favours from the Audi. They can do legitimately what they need to do to stay out there. We see the Mercedes trying to find a way past, and that's the Butson Gignon BMW, and he's not really able to get cleanly through in the middle of the straight. So he's going to have to wait, be patient. That's the second place. Well, that was the lead BMW now into the pits for its stop. And Alexander Sims will take over.
Yep, the final stop for them as they drop that car down from the jacks and head out onto the circuit once again. Here comes our race leader then to resume the lead of the race, Laurens van Thor. He's going to get out in front of that Rowe Racing BMW, but where's the Rowe car going to come out? That's going to be the question. It will be in at least third place as Buch swings past, but it's the other car we need to see of Felix Rosenqvist. That comes past the commentary box window now, so it's going to be very, very tight, I think, between Rosenqvist and the BMW. There's the BMW. Where is Rosenqvist? It's not there. So the 99 car has emerged in third place. So Felix Rosenqvist and the ACA team had a very slow pit stop, and as a result, they have lost track position.
Yeah, but they have got fastest first and sector times, but of course, track position is probably more important than just getting the accolade. Again, first sector, I mean, Felix Rosenqvist is flying. I mean, his lap times, so sector times, quickest of anybody in the field at the minute, but he's going to have to make up a great deal of position. As we see, Maximilian Buch in the Mercedes, he also appeared to be slightly slow in leaving the pit lane, whereas the well-oiled machine that is WRT did another great pit stop to get Laurens van Voor in effect back out into the lead.
So there's our third place car of Alexander Sims. Then there is the fourth place car of Felix Rosenqvist. So it's quite a big advantage. It's quite a big spread really from first down to fourth, but Rosenqvist is looking quick.
Yeah, and he's been doing sector time after sector time. It's now sort of slightly leveled itself out as Van Voor and Rosenqvist are the two quick cars on the track. Lead car, and in effect they would be the third place Mercedes.
So 27 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in the Blancpain GT Series, the Sprint Cup, and it's Laurens van Voor who is leading this race. Not on the timing screens yet because Mirko Bortolotti and Maxime Soule are still out there on the circuit, as we see the 63 car of Mirko Bortolotti, the former Formula 2 champion, was on the podium here last year for the Grassa Racing Lamborghini team. He won the Megane Euro Cup as well as the 2008 Italian F3 Championship. Had a test with Williams in Abu Dhabi at the back end of 2011. And now he is leading this race. And there's Will Stevens. Sorry, it's René Rast now at the wheel. And he has got the 58 car of Alvaro Parent right up behind him. So they're battling for position. They've just gone past the 75 car of Philippe Salaquada then. So what has happened there is Rast and Parent have gone past Salaquada, and Parent now in that 59, Garage 59 McLaren is all over the back of René Rast. Good little battle here between some top quality racers as our race leader Bortolotti comes into the pits as he has to because the pit stop window's closing. There's Parent up the inside, contact between them, but Parent makes the move, and I think that's going to be a net 6th place once it all shuffles out. Bold, decisive stuff there from Alvaro Parent.
Yeah, I mean, he had to be very assertive. Again, a gap was available. He took it. There was a small amount of contact with the Audi, but nothing that will be bothering the stewards, I would have thought.
Salaquada, I think, took advantage of that and got past René Rast. Then into the pits comes the 8 Bentley that's well down out of the order after getting hit in the early stages. Andy Soucek taking over from Maxime Soule. Fastest lap of the race on that last tour. Felix Rosenqvist, 1 minute 33.190, which was, goodness me, 9/10 of a second quicker than Laurens van Voor on that last lap.
Well, I said to you, this car, these two kids are going to really push this AMG Mercedes GT3 along, and that's what we're saying now from Felix Rosenqvist. And I mean, just stunning sector times. Fastest lap, 133.190. That's almost quicker than qualifying was when we had the dry.
Yeah, that's very true, isn't it? So, fantastic battling here. There's our race leader then, Laurens van Voor. He and Frederik Vervisch are controlling this race at the moment. As out of the pits comes the number 8 Bentley. Where's Andy Soucek going to come out? He's going to come out in with the Kessel Ferrari, so that's down at about 20th position. And there's a little look from Soucek, not quite close enough to make a move past. Still leading the Silver Cup is Marcus Pommer, but he's only 2 seconds in front of Michele Beretta. There is Maxime Soule, a shake of the head, and you know what can you do? Dries van Voor spun him round. Van Voor got a drive-through penalty. It is what it is.
Well, unfortunately, that's what happens when there is contact. All you can do is penalise the driver who was guilty, but it doesn't help the innocent victim. And Maxime Soule clearly and rightly so feels that, you know, my race has been completely spoiled. We could have had another victory. We could have been certainly on the podium. And now we're looking at finishing maybe at best inside the top 15, might get into the top 10, but it's a long, long way to look, and we've got sort of 23 minutes of this race to go.
Pit stop window is now closed, and Rosenqvist then is lapping a second a lap quicker than Alexander Sims and is 5 seconds behind. This is on board with Laurens van Voor, trying to lap a back marker here. Brings back some bad memories from a year ago when he ended up in the wall after a collision with Jules Simkowiak, but no such problems there as he makes his way past Takaboshi in the Nissan.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Nissan saw the Audi coming and gave it space and did the right thing.
It was Sean Walkinshaw, my apologies.
Is that Sean? Okay, so you know, you've got to, if you're in that situation where you're not running competitively at the front, you have to keep a weather eye for quick cars coming through, and Laurens van Voor got through there without any time lost, so continues on his way. Got a 5.9 second advantage over the second place Mercedes-Benz Maximilian Buch, and Buch running roughly about 2 to 3/10 of a second down on the lead Audi of Laurens van Voor, and then it's Alexander Sim in 3rd place, then the very speedy and impressive Felix Rosenqvist, who's 5 seconds behind Sim for that final podium position.
the top 6 didn't change positions during that pit stop, but the big winners were the 333 Rinaldi team. They managed to go from 10th to 7th during the course of that pit stop window. So Norbert Siedler now up into 7th spot, but he's 9 seconds off Felipe Salaquada. So that's going to be a battle that may end up coming towards the end of the race with 22 minutes to go. There's our 3rd place man, Alexander Sims, and then there's our 4th place man.
Drive-through penalty to car 4 and car 6 causing a collision. Drive-through penalty, car 4, car 6 causing a collision.
So that's Dries van Thor, well, his car receiving another penalty. That's because I believe it was he that hit off that Bussen-Gignon BMW we saw spinning, and the 6th car for Meyer Melnoff is after he hit the 74 ISR Audi of Frank Stippler.
Well,
no, it was the Sainz-Lot car, my apologies.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's Dries van Thor, there is a driver sort of penalty, which you get awarded a single point for an incident, and Dries van Thor in his opening event for Audi WRT needs to be careful he doesn't start getting points at the earliest opportunity, because you've got to work very hard and stay really out of trouble for the following events to try and clear that penalty point. So it's a driving standards penalty.
Yes, absolutely. Just trying to spot where Rene Rast is in the 28th car. He's all the way down in 33rd place, and he's in the pits. He's been in the pits 3 times now, so there must be mechanical damage to that WRT.
Remember that contact with Alvaro Prince, or maybe that's the consequence of the contact. It was on the side, maybe called, did some suspension damage. We don't know. We have to speculate on that.
This, meanwhile, is the battle for 9th position. Marcus Winkelhock is in that 9th place at the moment, in that blue and white Phoenix Audi, but right up behind him is the 33 WRT Audi of Christopher Mies, the man who seems to race in every GT championship in the world. He was racing in Melbourne in the Australian GT Championship, where he's defending champion. And meanwhile, up in front is the 333 Ferrari, who actually has the 90 Ferrari behind him. And that is the AF Corsa entry of Raffaele Gianmaria, and it's Gianmaria at the wheel at the moment. So really good run here from that AF Corsa car to be up inside the top 8, battling for 7th position.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the 333 Ferrari, the familiar Siedler and Siegfried car to be the quality of the Ferrari field, and here it is being challenged, and really it's under threat. It's not likely to be just swooping around behind. This is a potential change of position.
And it's nice to have a proper pro AF Corsa squad as well. Compank is the Argentinian youngster who's racing it, but at the moment it's Raffaele Gianmaria at the wheel, the 38-year-old Italian, and he had one Formula 3000 podium finish in his time at Barcelona. Tonio Liuzzi won the race, and Enrique Toccocello was second, so a full Italian podium that day in Barcelona. Former Italian GT champion as well, so knows what he's doing, does Raffaele Gianmaria. Meanwhile, this is Andy Soucek right up behind Michele Beretta, who in turn is right up behind Marcus Pommer. So what we've got in these 3 cars, oh, there's the look up the inside. Through goes Soucek, decisive stuff, and he now splits the 2 cars battling over the Silver Cup class win.
Well, there's no question that Andy Soucek saw that opportunity, and he certainly took a lot of the inside of the circuit. I don't think he'll be any problem with it, but it was a very powerful pass, and he's made it stick, and Andy Soucek, of course, was disappointed.
Penalty to car 6, second drive-through to car 6 for causing a collision.
So a second drive-through penalty for car number 6. So Marcus Winkelhock and Nicky Meyer-Melnoff have got to serve 2 drive-through penalties. I think they've already served 1, and now they've got to come in and serve another one for some other collision.
Well, you know, bad day in the office.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all you can say.
So this is the continuing battle over 7th place. Siedler up against Gianmaria. Siedler in the Rinaldi Ferrari, Gianmaria in the AF Corsa Ferrari. Some lappery, I think, going on here, because then behind they've got Christopher Mies in that 33 car, who, because of the drive-through penalty for the 6 car, has now got a clear track up in front of him. Well, it's not particularly clear, but it's clear in terms of racing on the circuit. Meanwhile, the gap between Sims and Rosenquist has come down to 2.7 seconds with 18 minutes to go. So it's halved in the last 10 minutes or so. So we should see that battle unfold, I'd have thought, before the end of the race.
Yeah, the Mercedes in 3rd place is running about half a second a lap quicker than or in 4th place, running half a second a lap quicker than the third place BMW, and it is one of those hot rods from single-seater racing. Felix Rosenqvist, who is behind the wheel, and again, last sector on the 27th lap of this race, fastest overall, 32.9 compared to a 33.2, so he's 0.3 of a second quicker on that sector, on that lap, than the race leader is.
Also, Maximilian Buch in second place is edging the gap down to Laurens Vanthoor. It's down to 4.5 seconds now. He took 0.7 of a second out in that last lap. Nicky Melmanov given 2 drive-through penalties, and I don't think he's particularly chuffed with that. He's saying, why did they come in again? And the mechanic's saying we had 2 drive-through penalties.
Yeah, when Nicky has got sort of stride in his walk, you know there's something he's unhappy about. He didn't throw the helmet this time, but clearly he's not happy that that car's had a double drive-through.
And Meyer Melmanov has recently started competing in the Austrian Rally Championship as well. He was showing me pictures yesterday of him, you know, 6 foot off the air going over these jumps. He just loves his racing and his motorsport.
Well, normally it's the other way around, but if you want to be a racing driver trying to go rallying, I mean, I would say look at a few others that have tried it. It's not easy. Kimi Räikkönen, I think, tried it, and he went back to motor racing.
Absolutely. 86 there, and this is one of the drives of the day, I think, as another drive-through penalty. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, for the number 6 Phoenix Audi. But this man here in the 86 car is a man called Bernd Schneider, 5 times DTM champion, 2 times Spa 24-hour winner, 1997 FIA GT champion, and that car started dead last on the grid, 37th, and he's now up into 11th place. And if he can get past the Attempto Lamborghini up in front, they will score points from 37th on the grid. Fantastic performance from Schneider.
Yeah, he's sharing with Jules Simkowski, sort of acting almost like a mentor to the young Simkowski. Ben Schneider, just, I mean, what can you say? I mean, there's not enough time in the program left. And they had a problem with the paddle shifts, it's almost like the actuator in the car, that failed, so he didn't finish. Very unusual issue. So having to start right at the back of the grid, ultimately Ben Schneider, that experience and still raw pace from the they might call him a veteran, wouldn't like to hear him call him that, but the veteran German GT driver, touring car driver, DTM driver, whatever, and Formula 1 briefly.
Yeah, 51 years old now, Bernd Schneider, and he's up against the 24-year-old Swiss driver in that 101 car, Patrick Niederhauser, who took 4 wins in GP3 over the last couple of years, and now Schneider is trying to get past him for 10th place, a drive-through penalty for car 59, and that is the Craig Dolby McLaren. Not sure what is speeding in the pit lane, so things not going great for that sister McLaren this weekend.
No, it's not been a great weekend, really, overall for McLaren. So we saw a problem last night for Alvaro Parent and Rob Bell, and there was a bit of fireworks from the rear of the car. Craig Dolby really getting adjusted to the differences in the new car with Martin Plowman. So we can see 86 comes down.
Let's see what Bernd Schneider can do then in that black and green HTP Mercedes AMG GT3. What's going to help them is the Laurent Geny Cedric Lima car that's trying to get out of the way up in front and just kind of sits on the apex, manages to get through, but that didn't quite help Schneider as much as he perhaps would have anticipated. The gap between Sims and Rosenqvist is down to 0.7 of a second in the battle for third place. Here they come, and here comes Rosenqvist up the inside into the hairpin. Not quite close enough, but this is a very, very tight battle now, and it's absolutely nose to tail for the final podium spot, and 15 points in the opening round of the Blancpain GT Series. The Rowe BMW in the hands of Alexander Sims, the 88 Acker Mercedes in the hands of Felix Rosenqvist.
Yeah, the BMW just had the advantage into turn 8, and the Mercedes couldn't quite get into position, but Felix Rosenqvist is absolutely, I mean, he's been stunning in the opening part of his stint, and he's maintaining that momentum. Not an easy part of the track to go and get past.
And here comes
13,
Schneider
14.
through into turn number 8, and that's 10th position now for Bernd Schneider. He's gone from 37th on the grid to 10th place in the race. Great performance from he and Jules Simkowiak in that HTP Mercedes.
And just taking, look, that's the gap. See those times, Rosenqvist taking over half a second a lap out of the BMW.
Meanwhile, we've got Marcus Pommer still in the lead of the Silver Cup. That's that number 5 car you're seeing with the orange flashes. And there is the 98 Rowe BMW. which is running further back down the order. Where is the 98 car now in the hands of Nick Hatzberg? 30th place at the moment. We've got 12.5 minutes to go. Here is the third place battle then. Down into turn 13. They've got some traffic up in front. As Tristan Vautier watches on. Nervy as his teammate Felix Rosenqvist, defending FIA Formula 3 champion. 2 times Macau Grand Prix winner. Tries to hunt down Alexander Sims for that third place. Sims, of course, no stranger to Macau himself. He was third there last year when Rosenqvist won the race. So Rosenqvist had the upper hand at Macau last year. Who is going to have the upper hand at Misano 2016?
Well, Alexander Sims might hope that the BMW ahead is going to give him a little bit of a benefit, but it doesn't look very much like it to me. So he's going to have to fight this battle, keep an eye on the mirror, at the same time try and use everything he can to put the Boots and Ginion car between him and the Mercedes. But Rosenqvist is absolutely mercurial, just trying everywhere around the lap. And the Mercedes looks to be the more economical of the cars on the exit of the corners, not putting as much load into the rear of the car, and hopefully therefore keeping the life of the tyre that little bit fresher as they come through turn 16 onto pit straight.
A shame in the battle for the lead of the Silver Cup. It's been effectively eradicated because Michele Beretta in the 19 Lamborghini that's second in that class at the moment has been given a drive-through penalty for exceeding track limits. So that means Marcus Pommer and Nikolai Moller-Madsen are quite clear now to win the Silver Cup in theory. But still 11 minutes to go as now Rosenqvist has to make the move on the BMW. It's going to get very, very tight in there. And that didn't work out quite as cleanly as Rosenqvist would have wanted, but got away with it for now.
Yeah, I mean, he had to get through as quickly as possible. If he lost the momentum, then he would lose track position and have to do all the hard work that he's already applied himself to get back onto the tail of the third place BMW. But he's more or less there within the space of 3 corners. And once again, Alexander Sims has got the pressure of the white, red and black Mercedes-Benz in his mirrors, and knowing that the Mercedes is a well-sorted car. But more, I think, it's been driven by an extremely talented young guy from Sweden.
Down the back straight. Rosenqvist looking to the inside, not quite close enough. When this driver pairing was announced, in fact, when the 2 cars we were watching at, driver pairings was announced, that was the moment you knew the Sprint Cup was going to be proper this year. Alexander Sims and Philipp Eng. Sims, a BMW factory driver, and Philipp Eng, defending Porsche Super Cup champion, combined with an Indy Lights champion in Tristan Vautier and the reigning FIA F3 champion in Felix Rosenqvist. For me, those 2 driver announcements were, oh, okay, this is going to be a proper season.
I think all the way through the grid, we've got strong lineups, we've got great cars, we've got all these new products coming into 2016. And that's going to be exciting because as the season is progressing, we'll see the development of each of the cars. Some will develop more quickly than others. But with the new BMW M6, the Mercedes AMG GT3 trying to get up the inside into turn 4, but not really able to do it. Then into 5, then the short squirt into turn 6. We've seen Will Stevens earlier in the race pass 2 cars very cleverly and successfully up the inside. So I think Rosenqvist is trying to get a lick. He has to go the wide way round and make the undercut on the exit of turn 8. He doesn't need to get too far on the outside of the corner. He'll get onto the rubbery, marbly bits.
He's got good drive, though, coming out of turn 8, now into the 9-10 sequence of corners. He's going to be on the outside, but that will lead to the cutback onto the long back straight.
It's the undercut he's trying to get. The BMW's got that little bit of squirt. The twin-turbo V8 from BMW against the aspirated V8 from Mercedes-Benz. So the BMW, once again, is able, but look how close the Mercedes is to the tail, under the rear wing, looking through turn 13. Can he make a brave move down the inside? It's tough to think about it. Very tough to execute it as well. This time Alexander Sims again has got everything in control.
8.5 minutes to go, a fantastic battle for third place. Meanwhile, at the front, the gap is 3.5 seconds between Van Thor and Book. That seems to have moderately stabilized as they come through the final corner now. This battle for third place is anything but stable. The gap was just 1/10 of a second last time they crossed the line. Alexander Sims in that third place. Felix Rosenqvist desperate to try to find a way through. And they are well clear of Alvaro Parente, who's running in 5th position at the moment. Then 6th is Felipe Salaquada in the 75 ISR Audi. 7th is still Norbert Siedler in the Rinaldi Ferrari. Raffaele Gianmaria is in 8th place. Actually, no, sorry, it is Perez Companc who's at the wheel at the moment in that 8th placed number 90 car. So that's impressive stuff from the AF Corsa driver. Then Mies and Schneider completing the top 10. Here's the look from Rosenqvist down into turn 8. The BMW turns in, they hit each other, but Rosenqvist is going to make it stick, is he? The BMW of Alexander Sims will try and hang on around the outside, but he can't do it. Rosenqvist is through, up into 3rd place for the ACA Mercedes team.
Yeah, I mean, that was literally leaning on the side of the BMW, but again, the opportunity was opened up and Rosenqvist took it. He got inside, got track position, and once Alexander Sims was on the outside of the Mercedes, little he was going to be able to do to come back. And now the Mercedes has got the advantage down the straight. He ought to be able to pull away relatively easily. So Alexander Sims, he's got to think about what can I do to get back on the podium. He's got 7 minutes remaining, and I think it's a big ask for the BMW to come back to the young Swedish-driven Mercedes-Benz and get that final podium.
Especially considering the pace that Rosenqvist had when closing in on Alexander Sims. Here's our race leader. Let's not forget him, Laurens Vanthoor. The man who won FIA GT in 2013, the Blancpain Endurance Series in 2014, would have won the overall Blancpain GT Series last year, were it not for him breaking his ankle here at this race last year, which meant he missed out on the final round, allowing his teammate Robin Freins to take the victory. And Vanthoor is now 3.8 seconds up the road from this man, Maximilian Buch. He and Dominic Baumann, as we may have anticipated, being the closest challengers to Vanthoor. It's amazing we have this massive grid for this season, John, in the Sprint Cup. Huge levels of competitiveness. It's Vanthoor and Buch at the front.
But they're both in such well-oiled teams. I mean, the Audi R8 LMS is such a well-developed car. The team have been here testing in the wintertime. They do their homework. They don't win by good fortune. They do it because they do the right things. They employ good drivers. And, of course, in a sense, this car, the Audi, is a throwback to what they introduced in the middle part of last year. It's just been further developed. Wait until a few races into this championship and see where the Mercedes, the BMW, and other new product are going to be. They're waiting to see what the 488 Ferrari will do. Yeah. Maybe at Monza in the Endurance, the first round of Endurance. Blancpain.
Contact between Rosenqvist and Sims is under investigation by the stewards. Do you think there'll be any decision made on that? It seemed fair to me.
I think it was a hard move. It was a hard move that had to be done. There was sufficient gap, and also Alexander Sims allowed, if you like, once he saw the Mercedes was there, he could have been more aggressive and ended up maybe having both cars out of the race. So I suspect it'll go down as a racing incident. I wouldn't expect to see any penalty.
This is the battle for 8th, 9th and 10th positions then. The number 90 Ferrari is in that 8th place at the moment, the AF Corsa car, as they swing out through the right-hander. And John, let's just have a quick look at the replay of that overtake, and we'll see what do we think here. A late move from Rosenqvist.
Yes, a late move, but you know, he's 3/4 ways alongside the BMW. There was a rub. You can see the BMW is unsettled by it. The reality of it is, it's, you know, the gap was opened up. It gave the Mercedes the chance to get sufficiently down the inside that it would be hard to say that it was the BMW's corner. We'll wait and see what the stewards say.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll bring you that as soon as we have any news. This, meanwhile, as John goes down to presumably talk to Laurens Vanthoor and Frederic Vervisch, the winners of the race, surely, with 4 minutes to go. But this is a battle royale forming over 8th position then, as I mentioned, in the number 90 car, the AF Corsa car that is being driven by Ezequiel Perez Companc, the 21-year-old Argentinian. Won the 2014 Ferrari Challenge in 2014. He was 3rd in the GT Open Pro-Am Championship last year. He is now holding off Christopher Mies, who in turn is holding off this man, Bernd Schneider, again. Onto the brakes. Into turn number 13. We've got 3.5 minutes to go as Bernd Schneider tries to fight his way through. As they now come towards, and they're all closing in a little bit on Norbert Siedler up in front in 7th place. Might be a little bit of a stretch to catch them, but we've got 3 minutes to go here in the Blancpain GT Series Sprint Cup. What a pair of races we have had, incredibly competitive. Vanthoor is leading at the moment in the number 1 WRT Audi, Maximilian Buch 2nd, in the 84 HTP Mercedes. Third is Felix Rosenqvist. Alexander Sims is in fourth. Parent is in fifth. Salaquada sixth. Then it's Seidler. And here's the look from Schneider up the inside for ninth position. Through goes Bernd Schneider, but Mies is going to try and get the cutback. He can't do it. Schneider's through into ninth. And the next man he will try and get past is Perez Companc. Great stuff from Schneider. I appreciate they might be having a bit of a love-in for Bernd Schneider at the moment, but he has started 37th and fought his way up to 9th position, both he and Jules Simkowiak at the age of 51. And now he's just got the 21-year-old to try and get past in front of him. The man 30 years his junior. Here's our race leader, though, Laurence Vanthor. There's Frederick Vervisch's partner watching on. She's looking interested to see how this race is going to unfold. It looks as though it's going to unfold pretty well. The gap actually has come down to just 1.7 seconds. So Vanthor may have got some traffic on that last lap, because there, not that car, but the other car is Maximilian Buch up the inside. The gap's just 1.7 seconds. So good stuff, good pace from Buch and Baumann in that HT4 HTP Mercedes-Benz. And Sims is back into third place. According to the timing screens, Alexander Sims is back into third position. Felix Rosenqvist lost 4 seconds on the last lap. Oh, and is that Rosenqvist out? It's one of the Acker Mercedes. Yes, it is. Felix Rosenqvist out of the race after what was a stunning drive and a stunning debut in GT racing. Felix Rosenqvist is out. Well, that Mercedes has had mechanical problems throughout the weekend for various teams, and it looks like it's hit the Acker ASP squad at just the wrong time. Vanthor through the final corner to start the final lap of the Blancpain GT Series race here, and Vincent Voss is nervy because look at the gap. Vanthor across the line. 1.8 seconds later, Maximilian Buch across the line. And now in third place is Alexander Sims in the BMW for Rowe Racing. Here he is, coming out of the final corner. I think he'll be absolutely elated with that as he starts the final lap, although Alvaro Parent is not too far behind. No, that's the other McLaren, my apologies, in the background. So it's looking quite comfortable for the 99 car. Schneider was less than a tenth of a second behind Perez the last time they crossed the line. So we'll try and keep an eye out for them as well. So much to try and look out for on this final tour, this final 4.2 kilometers. Buch pushing, but it's not going to be enough, surely. They're out onto the back straight. Buch is pushing, but it looks like it's Vanthor who's booked his place on the top step of the podium. He and Vervisch down towards the final few corners. Vervisch will be watching on in the garage, knowing that just 2 more corners for Vanthor and they will win and take the lead in the series. Laurence Vanthor through the final corner lays to rest the demons of Misano 2015 with victory in the opening race of the 2016 Blancpain GT Series. He and Frederick Vervisch move to the top of the championship after the first round. Great drive from the WRT guys. Second for Buch and Dominic Baumann. They're right in the championship hunt. And Rowe Racing, second yesterday, third today for Alexander Sims and Philipp Eng. Really strong debut from the BMW M6. Rowe Racing finish in third. Fourth across the line is going to be Alvaro Parent in the McLaren. I think considering the weekend they've had, they'll be quite satisfied with that. Here comes Philippe Salaquada in the ISR Audi. This may be their best sprint result in the history of the ISR team. Now just wait for the Ferrari. Who's going to be through? It is going to be 6th for Seidler, and Schneider's got through. Schneider's up into 7th place. 6th across the line for Norbert Seidler and Marco Seefried. 7th from 37th on the grid for Bernd Schneider and Jules Simkowiak. Christopher Mies across the line in 8th. Perez Companc in the end, losing out and finishing in 9th place and completing the top 10. Patrick Niederhauser in the Attempto Racing Lamborghini squad. Through comes the 11. Kessel Racing Ferrari there to win the Pro-Am class. Mikhail Broniszewski and Andrea Piccini coming through to take victory in the Pro-Am class. Sorry, Giacomo Piccini, I should say. And Marcus Pommer and his teammate Nikolai Moller-Madsen winning in the Silver Cup. Goodness me, I have not... Well, two absolutely astonishing sprint races. 40 cars on the grid, well, 38 today. And it was non-stop action throughout. And we're going to see a very, very happy Laurens Vanthoor. And he is going to take his time and savor this one. Thumbs up as Vanthoor waves to the crowd and the marshals who have witnessed a great race here. And I think the encouraging part of that is the pace of the Mercedes, closing into just 1.6 seconds behind Laurens Vanthoor at the end of it, when the gap as they came out the pits were about 5 or 6 seconds. As the cars rumble back down into the pit lane. You've got to join us for Monza now, really. 2 weeks' time, the Blancpain GT Series has its first Endurance Cup event at Monza. 7th and 8th of May, we're at Brands Hatch with the Sprint Cup again. The revs from Vanthoor, the win for Vanthoor. Top of the championship. Reasonably muted celebration from Vanthoor, but that's what you get with those kind of drives. They know they should win, and when they do win, it's a job well done.
I think he got right in front damage. On the left hand, and it was getting worse.
So Alexander Sims there behind after finishing in 2nd place. And there's the satisfaction between Vervish and Vanthoor. And, well, there's John. Let's hear from our race winners.
Frederick Vervish, congratulations, you got the advantage at the start. Laurent finished it off here. That's about as perfect a day as you can have.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot say anything more. It's really the start we had in mind, and yeah, it's always good to do it. And yeah, Laurens did a perfect job. I had a good start, and the team did a great job with the pit stop. So yeah, what can I say more? Great car, so perfect.
Getting through the traffic initially wasn't a problem?
Well, it was not easy. It was a bit hot on some occasions. It's not easy to do a clean overtake, but I think everything was quite fair between us. We touched a bit, but nothing big, let's say. So yeah, good.
Laurens, as the great singer Lou Reed would have said, what a perfect day.
Yeah, very good day to begin a championship. As I said in the press conference at the after qualifying, this year is high quality, a lot of teams, a lot of good drivers. So to be able to win in this field, I think is something we can be really proud of. It was not an easy one, it's for sure, but yeah, we did it. That's all what matters, and a good start to the year.
Laurent, it looked very easy for you and Fred, but your nemesis, Maxi Book and the Mercedes, was closing. You were probably just cruising.
No, I wasn't cruising. He definitely had a bit more pace than us, and I had to concentrate and do the best possible job, even if it was not easy. In the end, yeah, the gap was just enough. It was a bit, my heart rate went a bit up when I saw the back markers, but in the end all went well, and we did it.
Now, I understand the reason that you two guys won isn't to do with what you did on the track. It was your pit crew. You're the fastest pit stop of the whole field.
Yeah, like, I think you can say like not maybe like always, but like often. WRT, they're very strong at the pit stops. The guys, they practice day and night, and this is a reward for their work.
Anyway, great job. Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Victory for Laurens van Thor and Frederik Vervisch, absolute delight for the pair of them as they pose for the photographs. And so a second place finish for Maximilian Buch and Dominic Baumann, and as Van Thor said, they had really good pace towards the end. Van Thor thinks they had more pace towards the end, and that is encouraging. Let's hear from our second place men.
Dominic Baumann, second place. At one point we weren't quite sure if you're going to make it into the winner's podium, but you must be happy.
Sure, for the first race, now main race this season, new car, new team for me. I guess we did an amazing job. The car was perfect, and I really enjoyed my first stint.
The potential of the AMG Mercedes GT3, what do you think it really is?
We will see. So hopefully we are not on the limit yet, but for sure we have a big potential, and hopefully we can make the same or even better on the next races.
Good. Max, I just spoke to Laurens van Thor. I said, you were sandbagging. Max, he wasn't really quicker than you. He said, yeah, he was. That's real pace that Max Buch has got.
I don't think so. I think that he managed it in the front because he saw me in the mirror. I think he got some calls over radio where I am. I thought sometimes that I can maybe get closer with the traffic, but at the end I'm really, really happy.
The traffic was a different factor here compared to last year, double the field. Did you have any difficulties, or were you managing it pretty well?
Yeah, I had a bit going in my outlap. I was already behind a back marker, which didn't let me pass for 2 or 3 laps, but then it was okay. I mean, sometimes you need to have your eyes in the mirror. You try to manage it, but no blame on someone, so everything is fine.
Well done, boys. Enjoy it.
Victory for Max Buch and Dominic Baumann after a very strong race for them, and yeah, very encouraging to have that kind of pace. So finally, let's hear from Alexander Sims and Philippe Eng. I'm sure they're going to be pretty satisfied with that.
Alex Sims, third place. I mean, before the weekend began, would you have taken a second and a third?
Honestly, yes. In practice, we still felt we had some work to do. And between quali and the races, we certainly did that. Found some pace, and yeah, yesterday was a dream, and today just caps it off. You know, to show that sort of pace in the dry was great.
Tell us, as best you can, your Formula 3 chum Felix Rosenqvist. He put a hard move on you into turn 8. Were you happy with it?
It's racing, isn't it? You know, he's got to have a go, fair enough. I didn't realise he was so far down the inside to just touch the rear of my car. I thought it was clear, but whatever. In the end, it's fine for us, so I'm not going to complain too much. It's always fun to have a race. It was good to defend so much from him. I don't know what happened in the end, but even coming onto the back straight when he had his problem, we had a fairly close miss. But no, it was good overall, really, really good.
Philippe, you got the advantage at the start, but then you had to deal with Laurens van Thor. Sort of, he's a handful, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I think it was a good move. I would have probably done the same, but they're all professional racing drivers, so they all know what they do. It was good fun. Then I just tried to be safe and bring the car back to the pits. We had a good pit stop. Poise did again a good move, and then Alex did fantastic to hold the Mercedes off. We were a bit lucky in the end, but I think that's part of the job or part of the game, and we take it. Yeah, we're happy.
At the minute, the BMW M6 is relatively underdeveloped, but it looks like it's got a lot more to come.
Well, we think so, yes. It's a great car. It's really fun to drive, and I hope we're going to see us more often this year.
Sure we will. Many thanks.
So there are third place finishes. Let's have a look at the results after 38 laps of racing here in Misano. It's the win and the championship lead for Frederik Vervisch and Laurens van Thor, but Dominic Baumann and Max Buch closed the gap to just 1.6 seconds at the end of the race. A third place for Eng and Sims. Bell and Parent had such an up and down weekend. They started yesterday's race second, were as low as 25th, and then managed to finish the weekend in a fourth place spot. Stippler and Salaquada finishing in 5th. Salaquada managed a 4th place last year, which is his best Blancpain Sprint Series result, so this 5th place, a good start to their season. Siegfried and Seidler in 6th position. Simkowiak and Schneider coming from 37th on the grid to finish 7th in the race. Further down the order, you've got the 11 car, the Kessel racing car of Michael Broniszewski and Giacomo Piccini that wins the Pro-Am class. Nikolai Moller-Madsen and Marcus Pommer there in 15th place. They win the Silver Cup class. The 7 Bentley made his way up to 17th place for Vincent Abril and Stephen Kane. Leonard and Meadows second in that class. Clement Schmidt and Jasmine Jafar, after missing yesterday's race, did a good job actually to get up to 19th position. Max van Splinteren and Jeroen Mull completing the Silver Cup podium. Dries van Thor and Robin Freins, after 2 drive-through penalties, finished down in 22nd spot. The Boots and Ginian BMW had a few incidents out there. Matthias Henkeler and Maxime Martin finishing in 25th position in the end, but that is still enough to finish 3rd in Pro-Am. Martin Plowman and Craig Dolby. Well, then the rest of it reads as a list of the drivers who had a difficult day. Meyer Melnoff and Marcus Winkelhock had to serve numerous drive-through penalties. Steph Dusseldorp got spun around by Dries van Thor in the opening stages whilst they were running strongly. Vautier and Rosenquist in 32nd place after looking set to wrap up a podium. And we lost the 26 Saint-Loc Audi of Mike Parisi and Christopher Hasser in the opening laps. So a round of applause on the podium as the mechanics come out, and this is for the top 3 quickest pit stops. And on the top step, it's the number 1 WRT Audi. Second step is the number 2 WRT Audi. The third step, you guessed it, the number 3 WRT Audi. So very impressive stuff from them, and those are the 2 men that changed the tyres. Only 2 men allowed to run around and change all the tyres, but it just shows you how good WRT are at their pit stops, and a nice €2,000 for the pit stop challenge. Absolute delight for them, no doubt. And now the Belgian national anthem for the Belgian Audi Club. So the WRT team, once again, with absolutely rapid pit stops. Incredible stuff. The top 3 quickest pit stops should all be from the WRT team.
Well, they just are so good. I mean, they've worked it out. They're familiar with the car. It's not a new car. You know, the Mercedes is a new car to the team. BMW likewise. And all those little sort of different changes. So they're just so familiar.
So the champagne is being sprayed by all the WRT men, and they have won the pit stop challenge here in Misano. The first main race of the season got underway in Misano, and around the outside went Philippe Eng to take the lead of the race away from Maxime Soulet. Fantastic move from Eng down at turn 1. Then there were, big spin there in the middle of the pack for one of the Audis, and I think that was the Mike Parisi Hasser car before Dries van Thor punted Maxime Soulet into a spin, and Van Thor would then have to serve some drive-through penalties for that as the battles intensified in the top 10. There was Dries van Thor serving his drive-through penalty. A great move from Will Stevens to force his way past Steph Dusseldorp. Later on, Dusseldorp would get spun around as we saw another great attack, this time from Frank Stippler, making a move in that 75 ISR Audi. Then there was the spin. That was what happened then to Steph Dusseldorp. It was Nicky Meyer-Melnoff that spun Dusseldorp round. Katzberg disappointed. The battle was on for the lead, and finally Frederic Verviche managed to find the inside line and force his way past Philippe Eng. Verviche up into the lead of the race for the number 1 WRT Audi squad. Into the pits came the 88 car, Tristan Vautier, handing over to Felix Rosenquist. As the 2 Van Thors flew in formation, Van Thor Lawrence going past Van Thor Dries before Dries had made his pit stop to hand over to his teammate Robin Freins. Into the pits came the Rowe Racing car, and they emerged in 3rd place behind Maximilian Buch. In the HTP Mercedes, it was still Laurens Van Thor leading the way though. A late lockup from the Porsche, going straight on. And then this was Marcus Winkelhock doing battle with Christopher Mies. In the end, Winkelhock wouldn't get to continue the battle because he had to drop and serve 2 drive-through penalties for offences caused by that man, Nicky Meyer-Melnoff, and the mechanics told him, yep, we had to do 2. The battle was on for 3rd place. Fantastic performance from both of those drivers. Sims trying to battle against Felix Rosenquist, but eventually Rosenquist made the move down at turn 8. A bit of contact but that was third place for the ACA team. But later on, that car would retire and end up out of the race, meaning that the Rowe BMW would be the car to take the podium spot. There is the 88 car out of the race. But the race win going the way of Laurens Vanthoor and Frederik Vervisch. They take the lead of the championship as we go to round 2 of the Blancpain GT Series. 2 weeks' time, Monza. Vanthoor and Frederik Vervisch, the top step for the Belgian Audi club. Team WRT pairing. Max Buch and Dominic Baumann, those second quickest. Really encouraging that BMW seemed to have the, Mercedes seemed to have the pace. Buch was a little dismissive of it, but who do you believe?
Well, I think the Mercedes has got the pace. It's a more nimble car. It's going to be better on this type of racetrack than the previous SLS was, so they've got a better all-round race car. And of course, it's new, and that's one of the big pluses for Mercedes, as is for BMW and the M6 with that twin-turbo V8. It's a much more complicated car than the previous Z4 was, bigger in every respect, but that they think is going to give them additional performance. And we saw over this weekend a second and a third. They would have been over the moon if you'd said second and third in the first round at Misano.
Yeah, wonderful performance. There you can see the Silver Cup drivers on the left-hand side. The win for Nikolai Moller-Madsen and Marcus Pommet, the Dane and the German, respectively. But on the top step, it's Vanthoor and Vervisch as they now get ready to receive their checks. And that's the big one, 30,000 euros for winning the event, which goes a long way to help.
It's a contribution. I mean, it's not going to be sufficient for a team to run on. They do need to have both sponsorship and, in many cases, drivers are bringing budgets along with them to secure a seat in a competitive car. But that's the name of contemporary motor racing these days. But nevertheless, I'd rather have that 30,000 euros in my bank account than have it in a rival team's one.
Absolutely, and there are the 4 new tyres given to the Silver Cup pairing of Nikolai Moller-Madsen and Marcus Pommet. Not to scale, clearly. There's the shake of the hands, and I think that concludes our presentations as they pose for the photographs on the top step. Laurens Vanthoor and Frederik Vervisch taking the victory here in Misano after a wonderful pair of races. Thank you very much for joining us over the course of the weekend. From John Watson and myself, Jack Nichols, and everyone at SRO, we urge you to join us in Monza in 2 weeks' time for the Endurance Cup, the second round of the Blancpain GT Series. Vervisch and Vanthoor on top.